should be working. Yep, we're live. Okay.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us this evening. I'm going to start with the Open Public Meeting Act. I'm sorry, Ms. Carter, there's no secretary. I apologize.
I did bring my computer.
Thank goodness. I'll give you a second. I'll read slow. Open Public Meetings Act notice. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Sunshine Law. Annual notice having been published or on or about July 1st, 2024 in 2 local newspapers with a copy on file with the board secretary and a copy to be posted to the TCCS website. So this meeting is being called to order at 7:12. The first order of business is the swearing in of our new members.
There's 3 different papers.
Okay, so Joe, I'm going to pass you yours. Well, do we start with
Yep,
this?
yeah, that's
Okay.
after.
So you're just going to read what's on the document and then just read it aloud. No. Go ahead.
I, Joseph Avino, do solemnly swear I will support the Constitution of the United States of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of people. So help me God. I, Joseph Avino, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of a member of a board of education, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all duties of that office according to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Welcome to the board, Joe.
So Joe, you're just going to sign. You'll sign on the right there after the date. Okay.
You're up, Anthony.
I, Anthony Gilchrist, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people. So help me God. I, Anthony Gilchrist, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office member of the Board of Education, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all duties of that office according to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Welcome back.
I, Keisha Carter, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and the state under the authority of the people. So help me God. I, Keisha Carter, do solemnly swear or affirm that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a board of education, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Welcome back, Lisa. Just has to sign on the right-hand side.
All right, perfect. Welcome back to the 2 of you, and welcome, Joe. Thank you for stepping up. We appreciate having a full board here. And the next thing that we are going to be doing is just reviewing the Code of Ethics. This is something we do every year at our reorganization meeting, where we're just going to pass out a copy of the Code of Ethics for board members. And what we will do is just actually go around the table, and everyone will read one to just reiterate what the Code of Ethics is all about for board members. Joe, you're actually going to get a copy of this here too, that just shows that you are acknowledging that you received a copy of this. Everyone else already have this on file because you are returning board members. So that's pretty much the way it'll go. So we'll start in the corner with Stacy, and I will actually bring up the presentation too. Okay.
I will make decisions in terms of the educational welfare of children, and will seek to develop and maintain public schools that meet the individual needs of all children, regardless of their ability, race, creed, sex, or social standings.
I will combine my board actions, policy making, planning, and appraisal, and I will help to frame policies and plans only after the board has consulted those who will be affected by them.
I will carry out my responsibility not to administer the schools, but together with my fellow board members to see that they are well run.
I will recognize that authority rests with the Board of Education and will make no personal promises nor take any private action that may compromise the board.
I will refuse to surrender my independent judgment to special interests or partisan political groups, or to use the schools for personal gain or for the gain of friends.
I will hold confidential all matters pertaining to the schools, which, if disclosed, would needlessly injure individuals or the schools. In all other matters, I will provide accurate information and, in concert with my fellow board members, interpret to the staff the aspirations of the community for its school.
I will vote to appoint the best qualified personnel available for consideration of the recommendation of the Chief Administrative Officer.
Yes, go back to Stacy.
I will support the best school personnel in proper performance of their duties.
I will refer all complaints to the Chief Administrative Officer, and I will act on complaints at public meetings only after failure of an administrative solution.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, guys. So you could all keep that second copy of that. And if we could just pass this over to Joe to fill out. You can hand that over to Tom once that's full. And actually, before we move on to our reorganization, I do want to introduce to you guys a representative from our board attorney's office. You want to introduce yourself, Mark?
Hi, I'm Mark Wenzel with Clary Jacoby. Pleasure to be here with all of you this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to represent you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. And next, we do have reorganization. I guess I'll explain how it goes, even though I may not get it right. So I'm glad we have a legal representation here. This is where the board will reorganize into the executive positions that you see behind me. We've got a president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and assistant secretary. Historically, how this goes is that someone needs to nominate someone in each of these roles. We start with president and work our way down. That person has to accept that nomination after it's seconded by someone else, I should say. And then we take a roll call vote. If there are multiple nominations, we would just do the same thing to see which person gets more votes, obviously. So I guess to start, I would like to know if there are any nominations for president.
I nominate Ziamar Hanna for president.
Okay. So actually, just so I'm going to keep track on here. So Anthony McGilchrist nominates. Is there a second? Was that Stacy? All right. Okay. And by roll call vote, we'll go alphabetically. If it's a yes or a no. Joe?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. Do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Okay.
I was waiting for you.
Yeah, sure. You would have stopped me right away if I didn't. Yeah.
I was going to say no.
Yeah. Okay. So we had Stacy was a yes. Keisha?
Yes.
Yvette is not here. Okay. Heather?
Yes.
Gio?
Yes.
Okay. Natalie?
Yes.
Anthony?
I
Yes.
said no.
And Enid?
Yes.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So we'll do that same process for vice president. Are there any nominations? Okay. Anthony McGilchrist. We have Stacy Barry. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay.
Can you second and also nominate? Yes, right?
How does that work?
Can you second and also nominate?
You, well, generally, if you're President, you'd ask for nominations. Yeah, you nominated, right?
And then I second the nomination,
So,
but I want to also nominate someone.
you want to nominate someone else?
Yes.
So you seconded Anthony.
Yep.
Now you can also, yes, nominate
Okay.
somebody else. It depends how your bylaws provide. Your bylaws don't really have a provision of those
Right.
before coming. So if you have a procedure or practice that you've always followed, that would dictate, I think, generally, whether you'd say yes or whether you'd say have a vote now. So I'll leave that up to you. How you're still.
Well, I guess technically, right. We could ask if there's any other nominations so we know who
Okay.
your other option is. So that's a second. So Anthony, do you accept that nomination?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other nominations?
Yes.
Okay.
I nominate Keisha Carter.
Okay. Is there a second for Keisha?
Mm-hmm.
I'll second.
Okay. All right. Is there a third nomination? Okay. All All right, so you can only vote for one or the other. That would make sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
She has to accept it.
I'm sorry, do you accept the nomination?
Yeah.
Okay.
You usually vote that in the order of the nomination, right? And generally, I mean, it's, you don't specify if he were to obtain majority.
Then there wouldn't even be a second.
Right.
Right. That makes sense. Okay. All right, so you're voting for one or the other. We're going to be going alphabetically again. And it's a yes or a no. All right, Joe, for Anthony.
Yes.
Okay. Stacy.
Yes.
Keisha.
Wait, who am I- what am I-
Is this for Anthony? Would you?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Uh,
do I do that?
You
No,
could
I'm
say,
supposed to do that.
you could say no if you want to vote. I
It
can't
was-
persuade your
Oh,
vote.
because I can't vote for myself.
You can.
If you say yes now, you can't vote yes for the other one. For yourself, that is.
I don't
Right.
know.
I voted-
No, no, it's all
It's
that.
one or the other.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I vote for myself.
So that's a no. Okay. Keisha's a no. Okay. Yvette is not here. Heather.
Yes.
Okay. Tiamana.
Keisha.
Okay, so that's a no. Okay. Natalie. Okay. Anthony.
Yes.
Okay. Enid.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the maximum. So that would mean that we would have 2 for Keisha, and Anthony would be vice president, right? Okay, we got it. All right, perfect. Congratulations, Anthony. All right. Okay. Next, do we have any nominations for treasurer?
You need it?
Okay. Okay. Anthony.
I second.
Anthony. Okay. Do we have a second?
We all
Heather. Okay.
Pick one.
Okay, is there, do you accept the nomination? Is there any other nominations for treasurer? Okay. Joe,
Yes.
okay. Stacy,
Yes.
Keisha,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Tiamana,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
and Enid?
I nominate.
That's- Yep, and Enid?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect, congratulations. All right, do we have a nomination for secretary?
I nominate Keisha.
Okay, let's, so that was Heather. Okay, Stacy did second though?
Yeah, Stacy
Yeah.
second.
Keisha, do you accept?
No.
Okay. Okay,
I
nominate Heather Goodrich.
okay,
second.
hold on, okay. So Heather,
She has to accept it.
that was,
Can I take them?
Yeah.
absolutely, yep.
Whatever you
All
want.
right, so that was Anthony and, let's see, okay, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other nominations for secretary?
That's not yours.
Okay, Joe,
Yes. she did.
all right, Stacy,
Yes.
Keisha,
Oh, yes.
okay. Heather,
Yes.
Tiamana,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes.
and Enid?
Yes.
Okay, it's, congratulations, Heather. And then finally, do we have any nominations for assistant secretary?
I nominate Keisha.
Is there a second?
No, because she's gonna reject it.
We got a second, so she can reject it. Anybody second the nomination for Keisha?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, she'll say.
Do you accept the nomination? Okay,
I nominate-
okay. Do we have another nomination for assistant secretary? Okay,
I second.
all right.
And
And not seconds. Okay. Do you accept the nomination? Okay. Are there any other nominations for assistant secretary? Okay. Joe,
Yes.
Stacy,
Yeah.
Keisha,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Tiamana,
Yes.
Natalie, Anthony,
Yes.
and Enid.
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations. We have an executive board. All right. So Heather, put this down in your notes. All right. So this will be part of the official record. I'll give you a copy of this document too, so you see how the voting went, okay? Congratulations, guys. Okay, so we have an executive board for the coming year. Thank you very much. And we can move on. All right. So any of these TBAs now, that's you once again, Ms. Hadnot.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We are going to, now that it's the approval of minutes, however, they were not received, so I'd like to make a motion to pass those our next meeting.
Got it. So we'll hold.
It's just approval of overall board meeting minutes.
Just from June 10th. Okay.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we're gonna say opposed.
Okay, so that'll be held till the next meeting. And we can move ahead then to our curriculum presentations. We'll start with Mr. Fleischauer, who's going to be presenting on our end-of-year math data.
So this is just the benchmark presentations for the school year. Starts at the end of the beginning of the year, so it'll be OY, and then towards the end of the year.
Okay. Bless you.
Bless you.
Color coding. And if you have any questions, just ask Mr. Gallo.
Yeah.
This is kindergarten.
Okay.
First grade. Third grade. Fourth grade.
Okay.
Fifth grade. Sixth grade. Then after sixth grade, we get to seventh and eighth grade, so it's split up into seventh grade math, eighth grade math, algebra, and geometry. Geometry is eighth graders, algebra is seventh and eighth, and then 2 classes of just seventh. Seventh grade. Eighth grade. And with eighth grade, we wanted to focus kind of towards the end of the year when we had a lot of tutors in daily, and it kind of highlights just to show that really helped that level because those tutors were mostly there helping this eighth grade classroom. So when they got that extra support, it did show improvement. Algebra. And then geometry. And one thing I hope to do next year, I'm sure John, is use Lincoln a lot more for that data, that now that we have it to just have more in-depth data when we present. Go by grade level, so it won't be just maybe a generic benchmark. Each grade level might have a different kind of information that we're sharing. The next one is action plan, but there is no action plan right now because we plan on developing it once we get the NJSLA scores, the administration and staff wants. So when we present beginning of the year presentation next year, because we will have our action.
Any questions for Mr. Adam?
I just have a question about, so through the curriculum committee, we tried really hard to look at this data, and also we rolled out a new curriculum for the upper grades for 7-8. Looking at the data, I mean, the geometry shape is really good, but there's still a lot of kids below grade level toward the end of the year. Do you think that curriculum is effective? And what are the plans in the year coming up? Are we going to roll it down to 6th graders? Are we adopting a new one? What's the feedback on the 7-8 curriculum?
The teachers that were using it liked it a lot more for 7th and 8th grade math. For algebra and geometry, we're still using what we used because that was working well. It's more about that 7th and 8th grade group. So we're going to continue using it next year. But we still did a 1-year subscription just in case we change it. The same with Savas
we did a 1-year subscription instead of renewing 3 years like we usually do, in case we want to make that change.
So the grade levels currently using Savas are which?
Are K to 6 and then algebra and geometry.
Okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure I remember this. Okay, so we're not looking to change Savas at all.
Not necessarily, just not next year.
Okay, so what do you think the biggest impacts were to those lower grade, like end of the year scores? What do you think the biggest impacts were to the end of the year below level kids?
For the 8th grade?
For the lower grades, the K through 6?
The biggest impact of why they were
Mhm.
I don't honestly.
During the curriculum meeting, we had talked about possibly not presenting this way and really focusing on the growth and the highlights because you guys have done so much. So can you just talk a little bit about how much growth you've seen over the
Yeah,
last
I
year?
mean, we've seen a lot of growth more in the upper school towards the end of the year. And that's also why we presented that 8th grade group by chapter, by concept, instead of just the benchmarks, because we thought it highlighted their progress a little bit better. I think it showed that when they got the support, when they got the extra support, that they improved.
So overall, we definitely did see like an overall improvement in kids across the board, right? I mean, I know we still have work to do, but I just do think that it's important to mention that post-pandemic, like the work that teachers have put in, sometimes isn't reflected in that data and the way that we see it, you know? So I just want that to be acknowledged, because it's something that we can talk about, you know?
Thank you.
With the support that was implemented for the grades, is that something you expect to continue like from the beginning of next year, or?
I think it was through a grant that we had. And also I think it was more, it's like every year, what?
So the support we got was through a tutoring grant that we got from the COVID money that runs out as of September 30th. And what we had done with it was, in January, when Ms. Landers went to the 5-6s, that left an open special education position in supporting our 7-8 math group. Unfortunately, we were not able to really fill that position. Mr. Calvin did an amazing job supporting them the best that he could as a substitute. Unfortunately, he's just, not a trained teacher. And that's when we really started to see some gaps open up. So Sonia, myself, Adam, we looked at kind of tutoring money and we said, okay, we still have this big chunk of money that we have to use. And we had a partnership with Huntington. So we brought in tutors for the last 3 months of school. And any child who is classified, who was not kind of getting that service that was part of their IEP, we talked to parents about these compensatory services, and we're very open and transparent with them of the situation that we were in and what we were offering for them kind of proactively up front. And obviously they were all very happy about it. So each of those children got a one-to-one tutor for the last
Do we have,
months.
What about the kids that weren't classified?
So the money was slated for the students who weren't getting a service that was required in their IEP.
So how can we support, like, do we have a plan, how do we support the kids who aren't classified?
So one of the things that we did was we definitely expanded our SAI program for this summer. We have 4 teachers this year. In the past, we didn't have 4 teachers. Actually, the majority of our students attending right now are our 5th through 8th graders, and pleasantly surprised on their attendance. Miss Lisa, that's because she bought food, and if you feed them, they will come. So it is true. So they're really and they're only a week and a day in, but the attendance for our upper school students, these are not, SAI is not for classified students, it is for that at-risk population who may have shown some gaps. They've really been, like I said, it's been a week and a day, so my fingers crossed.
So there's a system in place to track that data.
I was gonna just correct, yeah.
Yes.
So we're using the iReady program. Anyone who was on it got to the end of the year diagnostic. So we have data from mid to the end of June, like right before they left school, and they'll get that diagnosis again about halfway through the program, and then again at the end of the program, so we can see individual growth.
And kids have like 3 goals overall for
Great.
weeks, and they're being tracked on each goal
Awesome.
every week.
That's great.
So what are we gonna do if there's no tutors to close the gap for the at-risk students? Because seems like there's a lot of at-risk students at all levels. So if we don't have that extra support, what can a teacher do to close that gap? Because a lot of schools don't get that extra support. So that means if they didn't, they would have been even lower. And they would, the scores look low, and what we just absorbed and looked at.
So the first thing we need to do is hire a special ed teacher, which we are hopeful that we've had a couple good candidates this week that we've screened. So fingers crossed, hopefully the next meeting, I will hand you someone to appoint. I'm just not gonna get my hopes up on it. The other thing is we are working with some of our upper school teachers on maybe restructuring how the class was a little bit to maybe get more small group or individual attention to students. Who maybe need a little bit more one-on-one time or small group time with the teacher, rather than more of a whole group level.
But I don't think that population covers all those low scores.
And I also think when when we look at the scores, I don't think it reflects that there's large gaps because the percentages, we're a small school, and especially when you look at 7th and 8th, those classes are less than 15 students. So when you start doing data, like 3 kids is almost 20%. So when we're targeting that group, we're talking about targeting 5 to 8 children per grade level. We're not talking about half of the grade level. So I think that's very manageable, knowing that starting in September.
So we're talking about 5 kids versus it looks like you're talking 25 kids. You are talking
Throughout
about
all the grades, because it was still red and blue that were just made it, you know what I'm saying? So that can't account for all of it. I'm saying, what is moving forward? If there's no tutoring, those numbers would have been even worse, correct? Because we just said we count the success to the tutoring. If we don't have the tutoring, what are we doing to make sure to ensure their success? Because at my school, we don't have tutors coming in. So it's on the teacher to make it happen. So they have to come up with a plan to teach and make it happen. So what are we doing?
Well, again, those tutors were just for those specific grades too, though, right? That was that was 7th and 8th?
And were they just for the IEP students, or were they for, so what about the non-IEP students that may have struggled?
Well, that's what you said, they went to their summer program, right? So hopefully we'll have data from that to be able to say, oh, it made a marked improvement, and now there hopefully is not a gap. And if there is, then I do think we do have to revisit exactly what he's asking, which is, they didn't improve, what do we do from here?
And those are also the student, giving interventions,
And I also want to add that one thing we're doing different this year, I don't think we've ever hired extracurricular curriculum positions this early on. And sometimes waiting till September to hire the ELA, all the different chairs, then they're coming in September to look at assessments. It takes, by doing it early on now, our people who are we going to appoint, hopefully today, be able to look at this data now over the summer, look at the resources that they're having, so that in August training, they'll be able to meet with the teachers to come up, like Mr. Adams said, with the action plans and start this sooner than I think sometimes we kind of start September, October, and it's very hard. I think starting things sooner, we had talked about it before, is going to be crucial. So I think it's very
last year we started interventions the second to school, and we never done that.
Mm-hmm.
We're also it's not finalized yet, so I'm not going to get into specifics, but we are making some significant changes to our 5-year-8 schedule, which I'm very hopeful about.
Okay, good. Did we ever affiliate, just because I'm fresh off of all the surveys, which will be presented later, so all of it's sitting in my head. Did we ever try to affiliate with FDU or for a mentorship program and a tutoring program to have math students come in and work with our kids or something like that?
No, we tried a mentorship program for students, but not more academic. It was more a little bit of everything, just support, big brother type of thing, big sister type of thing, with FDU. And that didn't complete this year, so we were going to get back into that next year. But that could be something. I know at the high school sometimes they used to offer, Tina used to offer tutoring, and students used to come here. And I don't think they haven't done it in a while. But that was great when they had the high school students would come in as community service and works with some of our students.
Yeah, that would be great.
Free. It was free.
Yeah.
So I could reach out and find out if they're going to do that again.
We're able to see how many of the kids in this year's summer program were offered last year's summer program.
We can.
Oh, I
Please
can.
look at that.
I haven't, to be honest, but I can go back.
Because that would be a good reflection of what Anthony's asking, which is, if they are the same kids, then that summer program didn't help them. So then what do we do from here? But if they're different kids, and some of them did go out, then we can say, okay, this summer program is a success in some level, So if you work, no, we brought that up.
Yeah.
And I think last year was our first year with the summer program, and we definitely learned from it about, making sure we have, comparing apples to apples, that we have, the same data tracking throughout. So I'm more hopeful at the end of the summer that we'll have more quantitative, objective, solid data to be able to say like, okay, this is what we did, and this is where we are.
That's also data you can use going into the second.
This also falls under the LinkedIn, right?
Mhm.
Putting this all together
Yes.
comprehensively, so hopefully that can fit as part of that information gathering as well.
Yeah, the other thing that we talked about was that we were gonna figure out a way, because even though the system has gap, like the identifies gap, that gap doesn't correlate with the curriculum.
Right.
So then how are the teachers supposed to bridge the gap that's not in the curriculum, even though we know that there's a gap there? So we have to look for a solution for that. That is a disconnect.
Well, thank you, Mr. Adam, for all your work as chair this year. We appreciate you. Every year it seems to get, we get more detailed information, and I feel like the action plans are a little bit more in depth, so thank you for all your hard work this year. Little bit better. There's another question.
And this is for both children. I'm sorry, I know you got it.
No, that's okay. Just slide it over.
You slide it. Don't go just yet.
Slide to car.
My next question is, so now we've identified the gaps for the lower achieving. What are we doing to move the blue to green and keeping the green in the green? Because that's also part of student growth. So you're at school level, but I need to be a 5, not a 4. So how do we get those 4s to 5s, those 3s to 4s? What's the plan for that?
Well, that's when differentiation, like in the classroom, each classroom within each grade level is different. Also, we have the enrichment program that's going to be rolling out a lot sooner. So that's how we keep the kids, in the green, get that blue up to the green.
So differentiated instruction, I would have to have those lower level people, a little bit small groups. That's part of differentiating.
Well,
You know, because if I have a kid who's, if my, my daughter, I can only speak for mine. If she's almost at a 5, she might be in a class with a child who's a 1 or a 2. So I'm not going to teach him. I have to teach him 2 separate things to try and catch her up and to keep her occupied and moving forward.
well, no, we use those 5s to, help support the 1s also, because kids are best through each other. So we don't put all the 1s together, all the 5s together,
Correct.
4 together, because that's.
But what are we doing to keep those 5s at 5? So
there-
who's helping them in their small group to help them? So obviously they're going to help the lower levels, which helps them achieve
Well,
because it's peer.
There's
Well,
two schools
peers.
of- there are 2 schools
Right.
of thought.
Not all, yeah.
But I know, I completely understand, but I'm saying we have a clear outline of what we're doing to get the lower level up, but we don't really have a clear outline to keep them up.
Well, there's 2 schools of thought, right? So in every classroom at any given time, you're learning a concept, and then you're gonna break into small groups. And the teacher at that time can decide, am I gonna break my kids into homogeneous groups, or am I gonna break my kids into heterogeneous groups? The heterogeneous groups are where your 5s are with your 1s, they're working together, the 5s are kind of peer tutoring the 1s, take things like that.
Correct.
Your homogeneous groups are when your 1s are all together, your 1s and 2s are all together, then you have kind of your 3s and 4s, and then you have your higher level groups. And that's when you get kind of that intervention and enrichment all kind of happening at the same time. So the kids who are having enrichment, and this is completely hypothetical, right? Let's say in 1 week, the students who require intervention, they may meet with the teacher one-on-one 4 days out of the week, right? Your middle of the road kids may meet with the teacher one-on-one small group 2 days out of the week. Your enrichment kids may meet with the teacher 1 day out of the week, right? So they're all getting that, what they need in terms of their assignment and their problem solving, the frequency as to when they meet with the teacher and what they're learning in that time may differ. Where in other situations, everyone's kind of learning the same concepts and the groups are broken up a little more heterogeneously, and then their activities are similar but differentiated at the same time. And then there is also, again, those changes to the master schedule that we're making. We're hopefully giving a lot more time to the teachers and the students to manage the classroom a little bit better, to have more time. Because one thing we were hearing is 40 minutes is too short, but 80 minutes is too long. Boost wasn't working as we wanted it to, so we're trying to target that a little bit better. And hopefully those changes will open up a lot of time and availability for those teachers to really.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, Christina gave Sonia and I a preview of all the work that they did on the master schedule between Jeff and Christina particularly. Thank you for your service. I know it's tough. The changes she's talking about, it definitely is going to impact the teacher's ability to manage the class in sort of a different way, to work with those smaller groups if necessary, and to have more time when necessary, and also even have extra periods built into the weekly schedule to focus specifically on interventions and enrichment. So both ends of the spectrum are going to get hit according to the schedule. So I'm hopeful that that'll all come to fruition, and it'll be definitely what you're looking for. That's
Also, I just think that, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that like whatever system it is that the kids will do for homework, but like, I know like ours would be different, like it would have, it would generate like stuff to move her ahead. You know, I don't know what that's called,
I
but
was just gonna say that, like, you're making the space for, like, we know that the teachers know how to get the 4s to 5s and the 5s plus. They do know how to do that, it's creating more time, which I think you just explained.
what I will say though is like the negative flip side of that, and I am speaking the truth, is that the kids will say stuff like, oh, if the teacher goes over to that group, that's the local group. They know, and they say it all the time. If she comes over here, and that's something that I think we have to be conscious of, like, the teacher probably should go even to the high group, right? Because that is what they say all the time. They're like, oh yeah, that's the group over there that means right. They know.
And that's how we're trying to get the teachers where they may see maybe if we're in that homogeneous group, right? You may see the students who are a little lower more often, but also you should always be touching base with your average level learners and your higher level learners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all right. Thank you, Mr. Adam. All right. So, and little Adam, thank you. Yes. All right. So move on to Juliana, our ELA department chair.
End of the year data for you. So the first batch that we have is under the curriculum for Super Kids, which is K to 2. Go to the next slide. This is just the key, above, on, and below. And you see like the ranges are a little different for this. So go ahead. Slide. Then we have kindergarten at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the year. So you see a big closing of the below and the growth in the on by like, putting out there. So great data for kindergarten. Again. Next. Good stuff. All right.
Just said that good stuff.
All right. And then you have third grade. Now they use H&H into reading. So now kids are not just learning to read, they're reading to learn. I do think it's important to note that the jump from Super Kids to H&H is kind of a big one, just in the amount of things that they have to do, the amount of time the lessons take, and the tasks that they're being asked to do. So, third grade, really wonderful data. Grade. Grade. Very small changes, but still growth. Sixth grade. Seventh grade. Eighth grade, same thing. Same, now they're into reading and literature, so. Same curriculum. Great. Some updates. So the summer reading list went out. I did compile like lists of books recommendations for grades, like incoming grades. So they have like little themes at the top, and then a bunch of books that you can just get at the library that are on those themes. Nothing is like the mandate. It's all a recommendation, and then kids have a reading log that they can complete as they go along. The curricula is in process and ordered, and will be ready for September. H&H and Super Kids, I didn't put up there, but that as well. And then we did like a survey on teachers, what like supplemental resources are we finding that they're using, and like I can see like the user data. So like I noticed no one's really using this program. Do we need it? Some people, everybody So we shed a little bit actually when we have, and now that we have iReady and things like that, there's less of a need for as many online platforms, and we have like iExcel is a really good one that touches all subjects, not just ELA. So, like we talked about, the daily schedules will reflect some wiggle room for new opportunities to reach more learners, and then we have the study there, which is exciting, and then the ELA chair. Oh yeah, we did the pacing guide with the curriculum meeting. I just put a little picture of it on the bottom, kind of like what we're doing from August till the end of the year, and kind of creating timelines for ourselves. And then this is all kind of a repeat, but those assessments were given in the testing window by the end of the school year, and that data informed teachers about SAI and ESY teachers in their planning. Kudos to Miss Lee if she's listening. She made a really impressive tracker for how she's going to track these goals and daily and weekly. So I'm excited to like take that data, and I think that model, she's very generous with her work and shared with other teachers, so everyone's kind of using it. That's exciting. But that's really it. And the only other thing that I wanted to just mention is that I went to go see a show last week, and I saw outside for 7 and 8. The book is The Outsiders. I'm not sure if we can get tickets, but there's now a musical, which would be pretty cool. And that could be a feel. Yeah, I know. I was like, it's up there, but I don't know what the group rates or what for schools, but that's something to just put on people's radar. Yeah. So, but that's the book they're reading, so that would be cool for the beginning of the year.
All right, thank you, Juliana. Do you guys have questions for her?
Well, I mean, the 7-8 gaps are there at the end of the year, so hopefully the change in schedule will help. I think you guys have already spoken to some remedies of that. And then the Super Kids curriculum, and then we switched to HMH. I know Super Kids is fairly new to us. I think it's like 3 years.
Yeah, over 3 years now.
3 years. How are we feeling with that transition between the two systems? Like, are they comprehensive, or is it just like I felt that when my oldest switched to the other system, but at that time her lower school wasn't using Super Kids, so I'm wondering how comprehensive it is for the students to meet the needs of both curricula.
I think that they're like, for me as a person who's been in this position, and I have worked with HMH and Super Kids, like at least for a year span on either one of them. There's still some stuff that I'm figuring out, trying to understand it. At first, it does seem like totally different. Oh, wow, they're making this big jump. But the foundational skills that they are teaching do really lend themselves to be applicable in anything that they're doing. So I think there's we could spend a little bit more time. Also, kids and teachers are really loving the program, and I think when we think about like data and testing, but it's like you just want to also foster a love of reading, and that this program is getting kids latched in and being like,
which one? I'm sorry. Super Kids.
Yeah,
that's okay.
The primary level is if this is something that's getting kids super excited about reading, then there's a lot of weight in that, and then we can maybe think more wide lens on or smaller lens actually, what are the teachers going to do to maybe we can adjust just the last 3 months of school and how we're preparing them for HMH. Maybe we did purchase, because I've been thinking about this, we purchased the 2nd grade curriculum for HMH, the actual physical copies, but we all do have digital copies, which is something I want to teach and tell teachers about. Even though you teach kindergarten, you do actually have access to HMH's kindergarten online platform, and they have a plethora of resources. So it's kind of is it something that we kind of create this transitional piece as a school that's kind of unique to us, rather than separating this? Because like I said, I think the excitement that Super Kids brings, and there is a lot, it's rigorous too. It's not easy, but it's just so different. And HMH is much more mature in the way it's presented. That is there a way that we can kind of overlap HMH and Super Kids towards the end of 2nd grade, that kids are not coming in shell shocked? But again, I think we keep talking about Lincoln, so I can't wait till it's ready. But there's going to be that piece of when you log into Lincoln, it's all going to look the same. So that kind of will help with
figuring out
that transition too. But yeah, it's definitely something to think about. Wow, it's so different. How are kids managing? I think overall they are managing well. The beginning of the year data in 3rd grade is strong.
Yeah, it is.
They are doing well. I just think in terms of what we think of the day-to-day, the homework and the in-class discussions and the note-taking and this, it's a learning curve. But again, teachers are getting better at HMH, so they're kind of But maybe the work over the summer is like, hey, third grade teachers, let's take a look at the end of year super kids work. And second grade teachers look at the beginning of the year third grade work. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, and even how you did the pacing guide, like, not that I'm just a recommendation could be to just define the prerequisite skills for the
Yes.
HMH and then see if they're able to transition
Yeah.
possible. But the comprehensiveness is, I think, what the curriculum committee has
Yeah.
been going for years.
Yeah.
We want a comprehensive system for both ELA and math, so I'm glad to hear that 3 years out, Super Kids is a joy for everybody. It's good.
Yes.
So then maybe we look at the, whatever you think, but in the staff, but maybe we look at the upper grades or something like that. So that's great. Thank you for all your hard work. Really appreciate it.
Good work. All right, thank you. So I'm just going to move ahead, if that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I just have a couple brief things to go over before I turn over to Sonia. As far as enrollment goes, we have now officially moved into the next school year here, seeing as how it's July 1st. Currently, we only have 3 official withdrawals as it stands right now. But historically, we know that as the summer goes on, people tell us late that they're moving or if they moved and things like that. So I do expect that there may be a couple more. But officially right now, we just need to fill 2 6th grade spots, 1 3rd grade spots, 1 3rd grade spot, excuse me. Those offers are going to be going out Monday when Stephanie gets back. And then the parents on the wait list will have 2 days to get back to us. And then we'll just move down the list as it goes. As far as facility updates go, the office project is underway. I'm pleased to say that they were in last week. They start to frame out the resource room and the new office. They are doing some investigatory. They have to do like a probe into the wall, into the gym to find out how many layers of concrete and insulation and things there are to help with the window and whatnot, but that's moving along. All the
we have a
paperwork
tour
has been
after?
sent. Yeah, we can take a walk. Yeah. What's that? Yeah.
I said we all want to see them.
Yeah, right. When I want an office, it gets done in 2 weeks. Is that what you just said? Yeah. No, it's not going to be done. But it is underway, and all the paperwork is together for the permits and everything. So we're happy with that. We had a good meeting with the architect and the construction company, and everybody's on the same page. So that's good. The other projects that we are working on over the summer is just your typical summer reset. I'm happy to say Mark and the guys have already started in the 7-8 wing where we don't have any summer programs going on right now. All those rooms have been pulled. They've already done a couple coats of stripping and waxing to get those rooms back together, which is great to start the summer off with. And they have a plan to do the whole building, obviously, with some painting and getting everything looking nice and fresh for the fall. The drain that we are going to be having put in along the multipurpose room, we did sign an agreement for that. That's going to take place hopefully the end of July, right, Tom? Yeah. End of July, early August. We're not sure how long that project is going to take, but it'll definitely be done, without any sort of impact on operations. And the other big news is that today we did have another meeting with the playground company, which was a very productive meeting. Today, you'll actually see that on the check register, there is a check for the board to approve to actually put the deposit down for that project, which, according to the representatives we spoke with today, even with, kind of changing a couple of the designs on the fly, it seemed that we are on target to get this done over the summer for a fall opening, with minimal impact on the existing flooring out there, which was a larger concern. So that's all good news. And I know that's a long time coming. I know that Siamana is going to talk a little bit about that in the surveys. I know that there were a lot of questions about the playground. So that's coming, and things are moving ahead. We're now in July, and the summer is going to go quickly, but all these projects are booked and ready and scheduled and moving, and I'm very pleased to say that. Any questions? Excellent. All right. So yeah, of course. Yep.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
How is it going to impact the camps that are going on?
So, I mean, that until we don't have a timetable for when they're actually going to be taking the old one down or anything like that. So it may impact the tail end of camps, and we have to talk about that. Yeah. But we don't have a schedule yet. But there is obviously going to be some sort of impact to maybe like the Friday water day, depending on when they actually have to get in there and start dismantling the old equipment because it's a safety concern, obviously. But as of right now, we don't have a specific timetable that they gave us, right? Yeah. But yeah, any impact will obviously be shared with the camp operators and the parents and all that. But as it stands right now, it's still usable and the whole outside area is accessible. Okay. Perfect. All right. So Sonia, I'm going to move on to, she's got a couple updates starting with personnel.
All right, Christina and I will kind of do this together, but we have positions open for the 24-25 school year. We have the nurse, second grade teacher, fifth and sixth grade ELA, seventh and eighth grade ELA, physical ed health position, special ed position, and 3 paraprofessionals we're looking for. Right before the break, we did interview and offer a nurse position and second grade. We offered a candidate. I want to thank the second grade interview committee, who was part of the process for the second grade teacher. And we've been interviewing even throughout school. And so we're still looking for the other positions. But we had a good special ed teacher interview today. She's coming back on Wednesday for a demo. We had 2 out of the 3 paraprofessionals, 2 good, strong candidates that are coming back for even doing a little demo, even as paras. We're offering that over the summer to kind of get a look on how they are with the students. So I think we're in a good shape right now, and I just hope by the next board meeting we can have them as resolutions.
Perfect.
And then next
Academics.
was summer academic program updates. I know, Christina, we already talking a little bit about the 1 week and a day ESY and SAI.
ESY and SAI started last week. I said attendance for SAI is great. We have 4 teachers and about 25 kids that are coming. ESY has 3 teachers. There's about 12 kids coming right now. And attendance has been really good for it all. The teachers really have a great system in place, a great way to track data. They've really been using some of the programs and resources. So I'm interested to see the data at the end of it, but it's also great. It's good.
Excellent. And while you have the floor, HIB.
I did send you guys the final HIB of last school year. That's officially July 1st, the next school year. It was not a confirmed HIB, as you saw on my report, but there was a violation to the student code of conduct. So there were consequences implemented, pretty significant at school. We're confident it won't be back there again. So that's my report.
Okay. Any questions about any of those things? All right. And I had actually asked Mr. Keitel if he could just give a really brief camp update since we're a little bit more than a weekend on some of that too.
Yeah, so the camps are a week and a day in, just like the extended school year and SAI programs. Sports and Science has 26 students currently enrolled. Hopefully the trips that are on the agenda tonight will be approved. They had a great first week learning chemical processes to make elephant toothpaste and volcanoes with Ms. Khaleesi and a lot of competitions with Mr. T. Art Camp has 25 students enrolled. Week 1 was labeled Food, Fabulous Food, where the students used all different food mediums to create projects and participated in their water day on Friday. This coming week is Color Week Crazy. And Theater Camp has 37 students enrolled. The show announcement is coming this week. We're looking forward to July, but we're equally looking forward to the about, as of right now, I think 7 alumni that are coming back to volunteer, as we typically have. So we're really excited to welcome them back. And like was previously stated, the construction is a fluid situation, and as more details come, those will be shared with the staff of the camp, which will then in turn share with the families of the campus.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
How many students are allowed in each camp? I know yours is probably could be more because of production and stuff, but the other
So
camps,
each camp has their own limit. Like I believe Miss Abby puts her limit at 20, but she had a couple individual situations that like some students could only attend a certain amount of weeks, etc. Sports and Science caps it at 30, and I should cap it at 30 for theater camp, but I haven't.
thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Do we get a hint about what the plan is?
Of course.
Absolutely not. I don't know who's listening on this live stream. The announcement's coming later.
It's not outside.
It is not, I'll give you that, that is not the outside.
I don't think you missed it.
It doesn't work anymore.
I should have done that, I should have like learned it.
Kept glitching out, remember?
Like, this is what it is.
Are we taking public comment questions?
Okay.
Are students, is it only TCCS students allowed in here? Okay, outside public.
And most of that, I will say, goes through word of mouth.
Okay.
Like a lot of, we publish it publicly, like, I know the TN Library published our camps this year.
Okay.
But most of the time it's word of mouth, and I think for at least the intercamp this year, we have probably 10 students that are outside of the school, which is the most we've ever had, which is awesome. Some of them are returning from last year, and some of them are, like, one of them is the parent owns a hair salon in Teaneck, and she just like emailed me and was like, oh, I want to know my student. So it's, I believe most of that is from word of mouth, but it's not just for TCCS.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring up yours now, right?
Okay.
What do you want to start with?
So, students.
Oh, look at that typo.
So I went through all of the surveys. I went through the student survey, the staff survey, and the parent survey. I challenged the board to go through it after and look at all of the personal anecdotal information that's on it. I tried to compile it in a way that kind of looked at the trend within that data and present it. I think starting with the students is really important because the students are a heartbeat of the school, but they also are very consistent with the things that they want. So I thought that it would be a good place to, yes. And what's funny is I was looking at trends of like other years and very similar. There were some changes to the staff ones, but the students have been consistently telling us the same things. So approximately 71% of the, I have parents, students participated in the survey. The results are featured in the call out boxes on the slides only represent strongly agree and agree. This presentation reports the results without commentary, other than the necessary summarization and accompanying interpretation of the free text comments. So the general, you can go ahead.
I was gonna watch whenever you hit
Oh,
yours,
when I
so I was
click,
just gonna go ahead.
So the major findings, it was generally positive. The school environment feels safe for a lot of our students. Students have trust in at least one staff member in the school. Many students commented on how great TCCS is. They enjoy spending time with their friends, and they like the variety of activities and clubs for students. The common themes were more variety in lunch options. If you haven't heard board meetings in the past, I think we just signed with these people a year ago, I think.
Yeah.
So we just made a change to the lunch provider, but they're still not satisfied. There's a definite interest in the new playground and the outdoor equipment. They're always looking for extended recess and free time to be on their phones specifically, which there's a no phone policy in the school. And they want to see consistency with the discipline policy. Oh, sorry. So in looking at the school climate, the question was, does TCCS create a safe and comfortable climate for learning? 58% of the students said yes. Do you think TCCS is a safe environment for all races, religion, and genders? 64% of the students said yes. This is something as a board, just for the public. Every time we've received HIB reports, we are often challenging what type of character education or what type of social work implementation can be done just to teach our students sensitivity within their language and the way they treat each other. So hopefully this number will be higher next year. In emergency situations, lockdowns, fire drills, school threats, do you feel TCCS staff makes you feel safe? 53% said yes. I will share this presentation out with everybody. The amount of homework, do you think you get too much homework? 55% of the kids believe they do.
What age is that?
Third to
So
eight.
this is third to eight. Yeah, this is third to eight. And when I said the percentage of completion, well, it's an approximation because some of the questions were just catered to certain grades. Do you feel the lunch has good options? 11% said yes, that it's filling and healthy. Social emotional learning, do you feel that you are getting the mental help you need at TCCS? 46% of the students said they do feel like that. So the next slides are a summary of free text comments from the student survey. To gain full context, it would be helpful for those with the appropriate authorization to read the verbatim text from the original document, as this is by its nature an interpretation. It may not fully capture the original content. So when asked, what would you like the student council to do for you? The first one, and this is in order of how often they were seen, better food vendors. The second was a new playground. The third was longer lunch and recess periods. The fourth was field trips. And the fifth was better vending machines. So whoever's responsible for the vending machines, you gotta make sure that those things are full and functioning because these kids are asking for it. For the boost period, if you could change your boost period, how would you like to use your boost period? They'd like to use it for time to work on their own assignments and homework, outdoor activities and recess time, and relaxation and to relieve stress. Some students even noted napping, taking a nap. These were the upper grade kids. So very interesting. Yeah, they just want to chill. What do you think TCCS can improve on and make the school better? So lunch and resource, the time and the food quality, the new playground and more equipment to use during recess, more field trips, especially for the upper grades, starting sports at younger ages, dress code and gum chewing policies, the cleanliness of the bathrooms, that was a big one. The mirrors in the bathroom, I didn't know. I guess there's certain bathrooms with no mirrors. And enforcing anti-bullying, sorry. So these are the electives that they would like to be offered in 5th to 8th grade. I thought this was interesting. It was coined so well. I'll get to that. So it's cooking, baking workshop, wood shop. These were all separate, but I kind of put them together. Basketball, sleep, gym, nap time, music making, which I thought was really cool. Social hour, which I think can be in my position and sitting here, I do see a value of some type of social skills with our students and that sensitivity that we've been talking about. So maybe that could be one of the maybe ambassador program. I don't know. Yeah, like an SEL based musical theater. One person even wrote like improvisational classes, like getting a topic and doing improv. Financial literacy, journaling, sculpting and pottery, and jewelry making. So a lot of Miss Abby's after school clubs.
Yeah.
In there.
Yeah, right.
Positive outcomes for the kids. They did talk about the community, that it's a close-knit community. They love recess. They love the diversity of the students in the school. They love spending time with friends. Many of them spoke to specific teachers that they enjoy. A lot of accolades to Spanish class and gym class, as well as the musicals. A lot of the students said that they enjoyed the projects that they're doing in their classes. They like their trips and they like the community events. So again, students enjoy outside and recess time. A peer student would like more opportunities to connect with one another, expanding the electives offered, and then again, the better food and recess. So I have to say thank you to all of the students that completed that survey. So next up is parents. I did them all separately. With parents, I wanted to really look at last year's data versus this year's data. So when I go through you could tell this was my first one, I have like images. So all the teachers that use Canva and everything, I'm so sorry that this is really boring. But I tried to compare it to last year's data just to see where we went up and down. This is definitely, less than last year's. Last year we had 203 responses. This year we had 95, which was 32% of the parents. So if you're a parent listening, please make sure that you fill out your surveys so that we can get your feedback. So again, the results featured in the call out boxes on slides with charts reflect strongly agree and agree responses. This presentation reports the results without commentary other than the necessary summarization and accompanying interpretation of the free text comments. So some of the trends that we found, the major findings were generally positive areas where the school environment is clean and well maintained. The environment feels safe and comfortable. Communication is favorable. And there's a variety of activities and clubs for the students. So definitely correlates to what the students were feeling. Some common themes are more challenging academic opportunities, more academic support for students, STEM and STEAM, discipline policy, community building, and need for high expectations. So general areas of improvement as a result of these are clearer communication around student expectations. So a lot of parents would like to see that more articulated, more hands-on opportunities, and expand communities for students with field trips, and again, the discipline policy. Okay, so these next couple of slides speak to the school-home connection. So this one was, I am satisfied with the level of response I get when I contact TCCS with a question or concern. 72% of the parents said yes. This is down 9% from last year. The trust, there's an adult in TCCS whom my child trusts and can go to for help with a school problem. This is exactly the same, 81%. Setting high expectations. The school has high expectations for my child. 62% of parents feel the school has high expectations for their child, and this is down 19%. Again, keeping in mind the number of parents that filled out the survey. TCCS clearly communicates the expectation for my child's learning to my child and me. 63% of the parents feel TCCS clearly communicates. This is up 1%. My child's teacher gives meaningful feedback on classwork and assignments and tests. This is 9% lower from last year at 66%. And if you guys have any questions, my child is learning on grade level or higher and ready to succeed in the next grade. 75% feel their child is ready for the next grade. My child is safe at school and in the school environment. 86% of parents feel that way, and it's up 6% from last year. The cleanliness at TCCS, 84% of the parents feel it is clean and well maintained. This is 4% down from last year. Discipline is enforced fairly at TCCS. 56% of parents feel that discipline is enforced fairly at TCCS. This is down 11% from last year. My child is not excluded from any school activities and enjoys equal opportunity to his or her peers. 88% of the parents feel that TCCS provides that, and this is the same percentage as last year. TCCS offers a wide enough variety of activities in and outside the classroom to keep my child interested in school. 76% of parents feel their child has a wide enough variety of activities. This is down 2% of last year. The next section is rate of satisfaction. I didn't write the measures. So the quality of my child's teacher. I'm sorry, I should have noted. Just give me 1 second. I want to note what the measurements were so you guys know what I'm referencing. So this is, the call-out boxes are unsatisfied is 1 and 4 is satisfied. So the quality of the child's teacher, 90% of the parents responded between 3 and 4, satisfied and highly satisfied. The level of assistance your child receives when he or she needs extra help with classwork, 85% of the parents. And I'm sorry, this one is down 5%, and the last slide was the same percentage as last year. Communication, how well TCCS communicates with you, 86% of parents believe they are satisfied, which is 5% lower than last year. How well TCCS helps you understand what you can do to support with your child's learning. 77% of parents agreed with this, and this is down 5%. Your opportunity to be involved in your child's education, 85% of parents responded with 3 4s, and this is down 3% from last year. The education your child has received this year, 81% responded with satisfactory. This is down 10%. It was 91% last year. This is up 2%. The opportunities to connect with the broader TCCS community, 92% of parents responded as satisfied. Okay, so the next slide, and I'm just going to give you guys a second to look at it. It's more than, I should pull up these questions too, but please indicate how often during the school year you have. So the questions are: received information on services for your child, talk with a teacher or another adult at TCCS to share information about your child, have been invited into a workshop program, performance, or academic activity, and received information from your child's teacher regarding performance. Okay. The next two slides contain a summary of free text comments relating to specific questions from the parent survey. To gain full context, it will be helpful for those with appropriate authorization to read the verbatim text from the original document, as the information in this presentation is by its nature an interpretation and may not fully capture the original intent. Okay, so the overall experience and takeaways from the parent survey were the safety drills. Parents are happy with the way the school is communicating and staying consistent with informing them of these drills. Student staff questions and concerns. There's some specific teacher questions, so there were some notes to like actual teacher names, which I can't share publicly, and praising some specific teachers as well. Parents spoke highly of social skills groups that took place this year, math and reading growth as well, which is great. 3 things to focus on for next year is less playground, literally it said less playground talk, more academic talk. Ideas for different ways to support more academics outside of the classroom, and improving academics, behavior, and building the community. Some things that were found successful this year were positive feedback in math and ELA, including support in accelerating the students and when needed, helping improve student scores, and positive feedback on community engagement. So the things that we should focus on for next year are academic rigor and differentiation, the discipline policy, additional academic programs and supporting the teachers in implementing those programs, setting high expectations for students, and building with families to support academic growth. Show the parents how to support their academic growth. So this is the second year we've asked the uniform question, and as a board, I think we have to do something because the majority of our community wants our kids in uniforms. So as a board this year, we really have to determine. It did go down 5% last year, but it is the majority. And thank you so much to all of the parents who completed the surveys. All right, now the last one is going to be the staff. Open. Okay, I'm gonna have to wing this one.
That's fine.
It's not opening my computer. That's fine. Want me to click? Yep. Okay. So 53% of the staff participated in the survey. Result presented in the presentation again reflect strongly agreeing. The findings in the survey are used for the administration and the board to individual administrative results are not presented in a public forum. It is within the administration's discretion to share results with applicable staff. These results are shared with the Board of Trustees for the purpose of evaluating the lead person and setting board and district goals. So after this meeting, all of the board members will receive all of the information regarding the leadership team. Okay. So summary of the findings, again, in order of most presented to least. So school climate, a lot of teachers are looking to make this place a more positive work environment for all staff. In regards to discipline, they want to see it implemented consistently and support from administration when communicating with the students directly and the parents. They had overall positive learning remarks, but they're looking forward to the field trip protocols and abilities to plan activities. So that's something that we've been working with the business administrator on, just building up systems for the field trip planning. And then community, there were positive remarks about the community events. So leaders and department chairs, their commendable helpfulness, availability and communication, and soft skills were reoccurring as takeaways. More direction and vision and involvement from some leaders is desired. Special services, there's a significant special services improvement across the board, and appropriate approachability is an area of focus. Performance management, the process is good. There's an increase in student progress, familiarity, and more real-time constructive feedback. But when you look at the feedback results, majority of the staff is getting feedback same day or within 3 days of observations and things like that. I can't see the bottom of my notes, so that's okay. So the board, and this one really evaluates us. So what the teachers are seeing us as. So only 47% of the staff believe the TCCS board communicates a clear vision for the school. Only 30.6% of the staff believe that TCCS board encourages open communication. 59% of the staff believe that TCCS board prioritizes student achievement and needs. 56% of the staff believe TCCS has a strong, positive school culture. 56% of the staff believe TCCS leadership prioritizes student achievement and needs. 31% of the staff believe TCCS consistently enforces the discipline policy. 63% of the staff believe TCCS encourages staff collaboration. 50% of the staff believe TCCS values classroom aides and supports their role in the classroom. 53% of the staff believe TCCS supports a strong special education department. 69% of the staff feel TCCS provides advanced technology resources. So evaluation of the school, qualitative themes. The next slide is a summary of free text comments. Again, like the other, I'm not going to repeat it.
Yeah.
Stay with you. I don't know why it looks like this. I'm sorry. These comments are listed in order of the topics as they occurred. So school climate, staff shared concerns about administrative support and decisions affecting teachers. A need for more team building and community among staff. New hires shared how they were welcomed positively, and there was a lot of notes about staff morale being low. They were looking for consistency with discipline. There's a feeling it falls on the teachers, and it's often inconsistent. Lack of professionalism. Staff shared that this is amongst staff and leadership team not addressing it, and gossip-inducing environment. So evaluation of the work experience. 60% of the staff believe the PD programs helped improve instruction. 53% of the staff believe they have the time, tools, and training to use data to effectively improve instruction. 63% of the staff believe the planning time with grade level colleagues is adequate and effective. Sorry, I'm finding 500 typos. 31% of staff believe they have adequate planning time across grade levels to ensure strong articulation. 69% of the staff believe staff meetings are scheduled with appropriate frequency. 50% of the staff believe staff meetings are scheduled, productive and, I'm sorry, it should say productive and useful. When you do all these data, it becomes like, so I apologize. 56% of the staff believe they are able to focus on their core areas of responsibility because support functions are adequately trained, supported, and resourced. 88% of the staff believe they understand the criteria used to evaluate their performance. 75% of the staff believe they are evaluated fairly and consistently. 63% of the staff believe the person who completed their evaluations are aware of student growth. 90% of the staff surveyed stated that administrators have been in their classroom 5 or more times. Most visits were conducted by the school principal. This is the percentage for each of their leadership team's feedback that they received this year. Oh, 38% of the staff received feedback within the 3 days. That's not right. Yeah, that is right. The majority of post-evaluation feedback is given by the principal. Okay, the next several slides are also free text comment summaries. So this one I did break down by the number of times I saw it in the surveys. I did, if one of the statements included 2 areas, I did count that same statement for both areas. So again, school climate was discussed often throughout the survey. Both positive and negative comments. It's important to say that there was both. Many of the staff believe that this is a joyful environment for the students. They desire a more positive work climate. Again, stating low teacher morale, professional relationships among teachers, and admin has made attempts to bring up morale this year. The second was the discipline policy. Staff feel that there's a lack of consistency and follow through. They would like to see more realistic consequences and more lessons for students on core values. Planning desires for better communication among staff and administration, setting clear expectations. Engagement, there were favorable responses to the community events and positive experiences at engagement events. And curriculum,
It's cut off.
I don't know what happened to this. Whoops, sorry. Interest in having more cooperative learning groups.
Possible.
Oh, possible looking at the math curriculum. So the math curriculum was brought up directly. I remember. All right, so the biggest improvements this year, you could tell I do not do Canva or anything fancy. It's hard to do this after the teachers do theirs because they're just so pretty. Curriculum and student achievement, these are the biggest successes of the year according to the staff. So curriculum implementation and data-driven decision-making has been an area of growth. The creativity in their projects, the role of special education in meetings has been really helpful, and the MTSS meetings. Within the community, they love the collaboration with the TNEC community and community events. People specifically spoke to FDU and wanting to maintain that relationship. And learning beyond the classroom, 2 people spoke of field trips and the snack shop. So areas of focus for next year, most occurring was the climate, so more staff appreciation, staff retention practices and onboarding for new staff, and school-wide activities. Discipline, holding students accountable, holding parents accountable, and more staff support and communication. Student support, more support for the lower school, continued collaboration with TNEC schools and FDU, and improve implementation of behavior management. Planning, they're looking for more prep time and committee meeting time and those field trip procedures. And then communications, just clear expectations set by administration and consistent systems and procedures. So the takeaways for the board, so how the staff want us to change. They want our agenda sooner to the community. They want more opportunities for staff input. So it was discussed that not holding this survey only once at the end of the year. So in going forward for next year, and I think I put it into the pacing guide that we did, but maybe doing multiple check-ins with the staff through a survey system. Educate staff on the role of the board. That's one thing that I found, a lot of the information and there was just not misunderstanding as to what the board does. There was positive feedback on the live stream, but they would love a video component. And positive feedback was given on the minutes being posted to the website. And they would love to see board members in the classrooms more. And thank you to all the staff for filling out the surveys. And that is my presentation.
All right, that's a lot of data. I will say, even if you look at, over the last however many years, the surveys are really the biggest thing that we look at in terms of setting goals. So looking at our goals over the last couple of years and seeing the things that we've kind of addressed or looked to address, you'll see a lot of those things don't get brought up in the surveys, so there's a reason for that, and that's a good thing. So we'll clearly look at this stuff, and we'll discuss as a team, and we'll talk over the summer about some of the main takeaways, but we really appreciate the fact that you take all this and really put it into a very easy to digest sort of presentation that we can sort of pick the key factors from. So we appreciate the work, and thank you.
My pleasure. In regards to the district goals, so now that we're all going to have this information and everything shared out, maybe what we could do as a board is just start to develop the goals, just even email wise, so I could send you guys a tentative and then we could start to kind of comment on it. So hopefully by August, we have an idea of some of the goals.
You mean the board goals?
Yeah,
right?
board goals. Yeah. So I'll work on that before the next meeting and then I'll send it out. But you guys are going to get all of this information, all of the surveys, everything sent to you. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, you still got a few more things on here. Yeah.
What else do I got to do? So thank you to everyone who completed Ralph's evaluation. I'm still waiting for 2 more people, and that information will also be shared out. And then committee updates. So we did meet. Can I just talk quickly, because I could discuss the playground with this, right?
Yeah.
So we did have a playground meeting today. Kind of a mission, this playground. So we started in September of last year and met with all the stakeholders. And I felt like we were moving, and then, as the logistics get into such a big project, things come. So today we were almost at the final steps of approving a layout. And then when we looked at it, we were like, oh, this is very lower school. So we need something for the big guys, because I think everybody, we're not going to please everyone, but I think if they walk out onto a new playground, there should be something that entices our big kids, especially because they've been waiting for this playground for 6 years. So we're still in talks with the company, and the fact that TCSCO did the resurfacing, it was an extremely expensive project. We're trying to reserve it as much as possible and not have to restructure everything. So that was another area that we discussed today. But our goal is to get it as soon as possible, hopefully in the fall. And we are using some of the funding for, that was what's the name of that grant? I'm sorry. The funding that we're using.
The capital, Tom?
Capital grant from the state of New Jersey.
So the capital grant, some of those funds are going to be used toward the playground. So TCSCO and the board will be sponsoring the playground. So hopefully we can finally get it done. And that's that for the playground update. We did do a curriculum meeting. Stacy, do you want to give the update on that?
Yeah, I feel like we did
Yeah.
talk through what we went through, right? So we basically talked about the chairs coming up with like a plan that we mapped out all year, kind of presenting this curriculum meeting. We also talked about the if there's a problem within like a specific grade level, having that person come to the curriculum meeting that next month, rather than having the chair have to like answer what they don't know, right, about the 7th and 8th grade, so that we can actually help and guide that. So we really talked about creating a more streamlined process, and like with the chair roles, kind of almost having accountability, but also supporting for the chairs, and it's not just all on them all the time. So that's kind of where we left it.
Thank you so much. I don't think anyone else met. No governance, no finance. Okay, so that was the committee update. Now we do the organization.
I mean, you need new committees for
Yep.
for the coming year. This is a less formal sort of
Process.
action, yeah.
All right, so I actually have to jot down all the committees because we've added some this year. So the major ones are curriculum, finance, governance. We also need grievance, communications, and stipends, right? Stipends. And we RFP. So the new ones for this year are the grievance, well, not new, but more formalized. Grievance, stipends, and RFP. So Joe, I know you're new, so I'll give you a little bit of background on each one. So curriculum basically looks at all of this data, meets with the chairs of each subject area, and provides feedback in curriculum meetings, so that when they come to the board, they've kind of already discussed with us, that committee, on how to present the data, and we just guide them in that and support them. Finance is doing all the budgeting. They look at all line by line and sign checks and make sure that all he's like, no. Governance is all about bylaws and policies, and they also help with the surveys. They are almost like the governing body of the board, any policies that exist within the governing body. Communications works with one of the goals that we're definitely going to do again this year that we tried to do last year that didn't come to fruition, is develop some type of brochure information to the community about who we are, communicating more about our roles. We have a lot of work to do in that committee. In the past, it's been kind of a quiet committee, but we've been working really hard to build it up. And stipends would be anyone who's coming before the board with a resolution for stipend. It would be reviewed with us ahead of time. And RFP is any proposals that come in for any jobs. We just did an RFP committee for the news council and an RFP committee for our school physician. So you have to put out proposals, and then we review the information that they give us, and then we choose one. And grievances, if there's any staff grievances that need to be brought to the board, the committee would, if it gets to the level of the board, would meet and have a hearing and do all of the work that comes to any decisions made.
It's also facility too.
Oh, facilities. And facilities looks at any big projects, like actually building projects. Okay? Which I think would be great for you. Okay. So I guess we'll start with curriculum. So is there anyone that would like to be the curriculum chair? Start with the chair.
I nominate Stacy.
I agree with that nomination. Okay. Would anyone else like to be part of curriculum? Keisha? And we usually do like 3. And Natalie. Okay. All right, so curriculum is closed. Finance, we nominate.
Enid.
Do you accept that nomination?
You guys are missing out.
Is there anyone else who would like to sit on finance? No, me and you again, Enid. Okay. Governance, I nominate Keisha for governance chair. Do you accept the nominations for governance chair? Does anyone else would like to be governance chair? No, okay. Anyone else like to be part of governance?
Sure. I think I would too.
Okay. Governance is closed. Finance is still open, by the way. Grievance. Would anyone like to be the grievance chair? Keisha. Would anyone else like to sit on grievance? Stacy. Anyone else? Room for one more. Natalie. Okay. All right. Closed. Communications. This is you want Natalie chair? You want chair? Okay. So yeah, no, I'm nominating Natalie as chair.
That's not here.
Oh yeah, Yvette's not here.
Yeah.
So we'll put Yvette and then we'll put Enid. Sorry.
Heather, did she had her hand up?
Yeah, but we're trying to stick 3.
So what'd you got? Who do you have?
We got Natalie, Yvette, and Enid. You switch? Okay. All right, Heather's off, and Enid's off and Heather's on for communications. Got a lot to do about it. Stipend committee, chair?
So the stipend committee, that's actually a function of the contract, if I believe. So that it's a collaborative. There's 4 people on that committee. There's 2 people from the union, me, and 1 board member,
Oh, that's
according to
me?
the contract. Typically, it has been you or a representative.
I'll call a friend.
Or Enid.
Enid Anthony's name is out there. So, should we vote?
It's also to clarify, it's a function of the contract on an as-needed basis.
Right.
Okay.
So it's not like
Every
I'm on
year.
curriculum committee, and it's not like we're meeting every month. The stipend committee is a as-needed basis, and through the negotiations this year, it was found that should be a conversation.
Okay.
And through negotiations, we had talked about Enid
Yeah.
being part of that.
Okay. So Enid it is. Let's do. All right, we're gonna put Anthony too. Figure that out. It's the same would be as RFPs, right? That's an as needed as well.
Also as needed.
So it's not really like a chair. I guess I would be the chair for that
Yeah.
because I called the meeting. So who would want to be on RFP? Keisha, Enid.
What we had decided, right, it was a mix of governance and finance. That's what we had said this year, remember? So look at the people who are on there, and it should be sort of
Yep.
Yeah.
Naturally happen like that.
That's perfect.
Okay. And facilities, chair, Joe? Anybody else want to be on facilities? It's me and you, Joe. Okay. All right. So just to, we put Yvette on to communications. I hope she's okay with that. Okay. So Stacy Behary is the curriculum chair. Keisha and Natalie are both part of curriculum. Enid is finance chair. Keisha is governance chair with Anthony, Joe, and myself. I'm gonna sit on all of these. Grievance is Keisha. Keisha's chair. Well, you're not really chair. You're just a member. Stacy and Natalie. Communications. The chair is Natalie. Yvette and Heather. Stipends, Yamada, Enid, Anthony. RFP, Keisha, Enid, Anthony. Facilities, Joe and me. Okay, everybody's good? Okay. All right, so committees are developed, and what's next? board training.
Board training.
So there are some people that had to complete the board training. I'm not going to call you out publicly, but if you didn't finish it, just try to finish it as soon as possible. And I do have to throw around some dates for the first board retreat. I also did on the pacing guide, I added multiple meetings throughout the year so that we build it in. But we should be looking for one in August. It is hard to get everybody together in August. So maybe September, yeah. But I think I put on the pacing guide August that we should come together as a full board before the school year starts again.
Well, there's a board meeting.
Yeah.
26th.
So you guys are available on the 26th? Like, because there's a meeting, we could build it before the meeting.
I won't be.
You won't be here.
I don't think so either.
Oh, so we might not even have a board meeting. We might not have enough board members. So.
We're going to need a board meeting. We're going to have hires before September, but yeah, we'll work that out.
Okay. So we'll discuss board retreat also on the thread amongst us to figure out when would work. Yeah, it's remote. It's remote. In the board meeting, no, we can't.
Retreat, no.
Yeah, but retreat we could do remote. All right, so we'll visit the board retreat.
Well, you also reach out to NJSBA too, and see
And
what his
schedule the
availability
dates.
is too.
Yeah, I just didn't even know
Yeah.
I should work toward middle of August, but it looks like that's a no. So we'll figure that out. And then the resolutions.
Okay. So we have 16 resolutions tonight. We've got 2 budget summaries. The first one is for the remaining bills from the last fiscal year. The second one has to do with any of the bills that are for the current and coming fiscal year for July 1st. We've got the SBA financial report that Tom sent out for May. We've got the collective negotiations agreement, which is the collective bargaining agreement with the union that was shared out by Tom as well. We've got the renewal of our insurance. We've got legal services agreement for a secondary counsel if necessary, just to have them already set if we need to call on them. We have a number of field trips that are just for the summer camps that have been scheduled and planned. We've got 3 compliance officer appointments. The Title IX compliance officer will be Sonia. The 504 compliance officer will be Christina, and the affirmative action officer will also be Sonia for the coming year. The temporary educational services staffing agreement is with Delta T, who provides substitutes and other temporary educational services. We've got the extracurricular, a number of summer appointments for people who are working over the summer on a number of things that are outside of the SAI and ESY programs. We've got people who are doing a rewriting of the discipline code or reviewing discipline things with Sonia. We had our kindergarten teachers who did assessments for incoming kindergartners. And then we have actually asked the 3rd and 4th grade team to take some time this summer to work on a presentation for students and parents who are moving into 3rd grade and making that jump from 2nd grade. So they're going to be doing that, as well as just today they had offered up the opportunity at some point in August to actually physically invite parents and their kids in before the school year starts to actually see their classroom and meet them and give them their Chromebooks and things like that before the school year starts, which would be a great opportunity, and I think it'll be appreciated.
I didn't write that in, but some of the parent comments was also too that they want to be in the building, like they want to see what the building looks like. So I know that that's a kindergarten thing, and I know that's also something that once kids are in the building, it's hard to, but they could come in during community events, but I don't know if they have access to like seeing this room and seeing. So maybe for next year you have like an open house for just people who have their kids here.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we have back to school night.
That's true.
That is our open house.
That's true. Yeah, why
For
was that in
parents.
this- That's
That's
true.
right, yeah.
Okay, just disregard everything I just.
That's fine. It's yeah. So
Maybe or a move-in.
They could come, like maybe like some of the teachers who have the parents come in for like reading, maybe more opportunities like or watching presentations from the students. Maybe
Yeah.
more of that.
Because they were saying like that they haven't seen like the whole building. Like I guess they just go in and go like right to where they're supposed to go, which I understand. There's students in the building,
right.
And for safety for everybody. But I also think too like maybe, one of the evenings that you guys are here.
No, I'm sure there's
We'll pay for
opportunities
parents.
for things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Um,
could come visit them.
But I mean, but at a minimum, right, for even back to school night, the building is open for all that, especially for specials. Like you get a big flow of parents of all grade levels coming into the general areas, like the the math and the music, and I'm sorry, the music and the art suite and the gym. But we can talk
Maybe we
about that.
market it
Yeah.
like, hey, come see the building and meet your kids like at the same time.
Totally.
You could, if you wanted before it starts, you have like a volunteer, like before back to school starts. And we'll do like a, maybe tour before the event begins. And
Yeah,
just
that's
have
a good
little
idea.
time dedicated to that.
No, yeah, we could definitely talk about that. That's fine. But you do raise a good point, though. I mean, as far as when kids are here, we do have heightened sort of security things that we keep in mind, and we're not really trying to bring people from the outside in when we can avoid it. But we could talk about it. Yeah. Right.
Just report it, Olga.
You tell them how good they have it. That's right. That's good. No, well, but there's always room for accommodating when we can in a safe and whatever way too. But no, that's fine. Thank you. What else do we have here? Personnel appointments for extracurricular for the coming year. As Sonia had talked a little bit about before, we want to get some of these things approved sooner rather than later, so that they can get a head start on some of the responsibilities that they may have. We do have an acceptance of a resignation at the end of the school year, actually the last day of school. We had a resignation from Miss Nicole, who was still with us for the summer, working our summer program, but she had shared that she will not be returning, and I shared the letter with you guys with some more details. But we'll miss her obviously as well. We have the HIB acknowledgement for the HIB that Christina mentioned earlier, and then finally we actually added on after our meeting earlier today the acceptance of a donation of $25,000 from TCCS to be used towards the playground, which is obviously a great thing. And the HVAC just went off, which means we've been here for at least 2 hours. So
We have?
yes, we have. Let's go.
Wow.
Yes.
It's like a bubble in here.
Yes.
Okay, is there any public comment regarding resolutions?
Just a quick comment to say thank you very much to TCSEO for the generous donation and all the parents who've contributed over the years to that fund.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It will happen.
Yeah, no, it's good. Good. A lot of action in the last couple of weeks and months. So it's good.
Okay. Any
Okay.
public comment, just general?
Not a lot of public, but
Public. Okay. Seeing none, ready? Okay. So resolution 2407-01, budget summary. Be it resolved that the budget summary for the June 11, 2024 to June 30th, 2024, total amount of $64,828.96 be approved. Moved by Vallejo Jesse moves. Second. McGilchrist seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? You guys have the longest last names. Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Gonzalez, oh, sorry, Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo Jesse,
Yes.
Hadnot, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2407-02, budget summary. Be it resolved that the budget summary for July 1st, 2024 to July 1st, 2024.
what? Yeah, that's correct. That's today.
1 day.
This is our only day that we're into the new academic year.
Oh, okay.
Into the new fiscal year.
I'm like, total amount.
That's it.
We spent $74,000 in 1 day. $74,979.
Half of that is your deposit on your playground.
I know.
That's
Our playground.
Yeah, that's it.
Moved by Vallejo Jesse moves. Second. McGilchrist seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo Jesse,
Yes.
Hadnot, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2407 2024, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the SBA financial report for May 2024. Moved by Vallejo Jesse moves. Second. McGilchrist seconds.
Oh, what?
Any questions or comments from the board? Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo Jesse,
Yes.
Hadnot, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2407-04, Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the successor collective negotiations agreement between the Teaneck Community Charter School Board of Trustees and the Teaneck Community Charter Education Association, covering the periods July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027, in accordance with the terms and conditions set forth in the Memorandum of Agreement dated April 11, 2024, as follows. It is further resolved that the Board of Trustees adopts, approves, and ratifies the Memorandum of Agreement and salary guides which set forth the terms for a successor collective negotiation agreement with the TCCEA. And it is further resolved that the Board of Trustees authorizes the Board of Trustees president to sign the successor collective negotiation agreement on behalf of the Board of Trustees. Moved by
Carter.
Carter moves, second. Vallejo Justin, ACB. Any questions or comments from the board?
I would just like to say, sorry, go ahead. I just want to say that it was really enjoyable negotiations this year. It was a lot of new people on the team on both sides of the table. And we were really glad from the union side to get to the contract that we landed on. So thank you all.
And thank you to you guys who blood, sweat, and tears, stayed here late, and worked really hard. We appreciate you. What is your question?
Actually, for the lawyer, how you doing?
I,
Only 2 of the 3 board members who were a part of it signed. It didn't require all 3 signatures of the board members who were part of the negotiations team.
No, previous council said it didn't.
Just asking.
well, you're all gonna vote to ratify now, right? You're gonna vote to ratify the collective bargaining.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, just to make sure it was legal before you.
Yeah. You have 2 of the 3, so you have the majority of the committee that voted to. Was there any other reason besides the fact that?
I wasn't part of it, so that's why I was.
Yeah, no, there's no de facto per se reason why the board couldn't vote to ratify, because only 2 of the 3 signed.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a concern from the person who didn't sign?
I didn't sign because of, I'm allowed to say it. I didn't sign, I wasn't there for the last couple of meetings, I was ill.
Okay.
And then there was stuff that I didn't.
Okay. So, okay. But we're all in accordance with that, the 2 signatures, fine, right? Yes. Okay.
I again don't know if this is appropriate to be saying in the public forum, but like I know for our side, the only person that needs to sign is our negotiations chair.
Yeah.
So other people can sign it, but there really only needs to be like the chair of the committee's signature.
And we did review that with the previous council in asking if the 2 signatures were appropriate.
I believe the previous negotiations was also the same,
Okay.
if I'm recalling correctly.
Okay. Good. Any other questions or comments from the board? Avino?
Yes.
You have
Bahari?
to move.
Oh.
You moving second? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's-
Bahari?
No.
Carter?
Yes.
Goodrich?
Yes.
Lazoo?
Yes.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Vallejo Justin?
Yes.
Hadnot, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2407-05, insurance renewal. Be it resolved that the attached insurance policy with Brown & Brown be renewed for the 2024-2025 school year. Moved by McGilchrist moves, second. Carter seconds. You're throwing me off there. Any questions or comments from the board? Avino?
Yes.
Bahari?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Goodrich?
Yes.
Lazoo?
Yes.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Vallejo Justin?
Yes.
Hadnot, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2407-06, legal services agreement. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the attached agreement with Barton Gilman, LLP, to provide legal services as necessary for the 2024-2025 school year. Moved by
Carter.
Carter moves, second.
McGilchrist.
McGilchrist seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Thank you for coming. We're happy to have you
Oh,
here.
thank you.
Any other questions?
For the record, that's not him, right? Just so you understand that. This is our secondary,
Yeah,
yes.
that's true.
Oh, this is our second one.
Yes.
We have 2.
But we definitely appreciate you having here.
We do appreciate having you here. We already got a legal question. It's great. No, this is our second.
Yes.
I forgot what this is the second one. We approved him last time. So
Correct.
welcome. It's nice to meet you.
No, he's on the clock. He's here legit. No,
And we
this is-
hope to
yes,
meet these
He's already
people.
approved.
Well,
Yes.
not really.
No, that's as
We don't need to
necessary.
meet them.
That's needed.
Okay. I'm just
Right,
gonna,
right.
2 hours of talking is not good. Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo, McGilchrist,
Yes.
Valeo Justy.
Yes.
Hannah, yes. I'm so sorry. Resolution carries. Resolution 2407-07, field trips, summer camps. Be it resolved that the TCCS Board of Trustees approve the following summer
You
camp
can just
field
point to
trips.
the board if you want. I mean,
Oh.
You can read through them all if you want, but.
These are all sports and science camp field trips.
Okay, so theater camp.
But no, we don't go anywhere.
They work. They
We
work.
stay here.
We have a performance to do.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Okay, moved by
Carter.
Carter moves second. I think I heard Lizzie first. Questions or comments from the board?
I do. I just want to say suggestions, that park down there, if the, like to build the playground that ends up not working, like don't they always walk
We
down?
talked about that.
Yeah, so maybe that could be added as a.
I thought of that as we were discussing the construction about it. I was like, oh, we could just go down.
Yeah.
And we did-
But wouldn't they be
And we did talk about it in
considered
playground,
walking?
that that's
Yeah, they had
also
a
an option.
sidewalk.
Yeah, well, that's,
Yeah, so would they would.
right. I mean, in all honesty, from the board's perspective, the bus trips are the most important. Jeff and I had actually discussed the general walking trip permission form for anybody who was there. So that would be covered under that anyway if they went there. Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Thank you, Stacy. Any other questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo, McGilchrist,
Yes.
Valeo Justy.
Yes.
Had not, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2407-08, appointment of Title IX Compliance Officer. Be it resolved that the TCCS approve the appointment of Sonia Torres as Title IX Compliance Officer. Moved by
Goodrich.
Goodrich, moves second. Lazoo seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Valeo Justy.
Yes.
Had not, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2407-09, appointment of 504 compliance officer. Be it resolved that the TCCS board approve the appointment of Christina Anders as the 504 compliance officer. Moved by
Carter.
Carter, moves second.
Vino.
Avino seconds. Any questions or comments from the board?
I have a question. So like what exactly is like the 504? You just do like a 504 thing?
Just making sure it's all like being.
So the 504 compliance officer ensures compliance with Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, which so that she makes sure that the 504s are being implemented correctly, and that any additional training or whatnot is put into place. Is that a fair enough,
That's accurate.
right?
Taurus, didn't look like licensing.
So Title IX, no, that actually has to do with sex-based discrimination complaints, equity. Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Comment? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Valeo Justy.
Yes.
Had not, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2407-10, appointment of affirmative action officer. Be it resolved that the TCCS board approve the appointment of Sonia Torres as affirmative action officer. Moved by? Had not moved. Second? So just so the board's aware, our previous affirmative action officer was Ralph, and now we're moving that to Sonia. Okay? Any other questions or comments from the board?
I don't explain why. No, no. The affirmative action officer, just so everybody knows, deals with ensuring that there's no discrimination and that there's equal employment. Is that also?
Correct.
Yeah. Perfect.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Valeo Justy.
Yes.
Had not, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2407-11, temporary educational services staffing agreement. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the attached agreement rates with Delta T to provide temporary educational services staffing as necessary for the 2024-2025 school year. Moved by? Had not moved. Second? McGilchrist seconds. Is this more for paras or for teachers?
No, it's, I sent the whole list. It's actually more support services.
Yeah, it's more support services. For example, like if we if we don't hire our own OT.
Okay.
We contract with them, or one last year that we did was like someone needed an educational eval, but it needed to be done in Spanish. Our
Okay.
OTC doesn't do bilingual eval, so we would contract with them to have someone come in and do it. It's just on that as needed basis if we don't have to.
Right, there's no obligation, it's just an option for us if we need it.
Aren't we considered Region 5?
Yes.
Can we, so we
So
can't,
we have a number of agreements with like
Oh,
different,
multiple
but they
places.
can't all staff all the time.
Okay.
So anytime we're like really in a bind, I'll put out 3 different agencies
Mm-hmm.
and whoever can give me someone, whether it's none or 1 or 2.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazul,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo Justin,
Yes.
Had night, yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2407-12, personnel appointments for summer 2024. Be it resolved that the TCCS board approve the following personnel appointments for 2024. Give you a second to look at it, and then I'm going to move it so that we can ask questions if needed. Moved by? Had not moved, second?
Goodness.
Goodrich seconds. I have a question. In regards to the discipline policy and the behavior committee, I know that you did a lot of work last year and created the rubric. What are the goals for that committee this year?
Well, now it would be looking at the survey, looking at teacher feedback. So I think we'll also do not only just the teacher survey that we had in parent survey, maybe we'll create something else to send to get a little bit maybe more data specifics of what, like how we can improve the discipline. But for the most part, we'll look at this year's discipline, like the list of disciplines, the grade levels, where have things were consistent, where we can improve on, updating. So like with the staff, we'll look at what we didn't have in the discipline code this year that we can add to the discipline code, and then revise the student handbook and the parent handbook to give the information out to everyone.
Okay.
How were the teachers selected?
I sent an email who would want to be part of the process.
And how were like their class management skills in accordance to trying to
I
figure
I
out?
don't know if you can talk about that.
I mean, if we're gonna do discipline, even though we can't speak in public, I mean, was that taken into consideration, I should say?
I hired everyone that actually applied because we could use everyone's
Oh,
feedback.
feedback, okay.
My question is along the lines of, like, I agree, I was there, you put in a lot of work. But if the kids, the teachers, and the parents all commented on the discipline being an issue, what do we feel went wrong with the plan this year?
Well, I think that's the point of them meeting and figuring that
Or
out.
do we know, like, off the top, like, that it was overwhelmingly, like, that every single group said it, that we have an idea? Or like, you guys really need the committee to figure it out?
I think
You
it
know
would be
what I'm saying?
different for different groups. Like maybe the parents may feel like maybe they didn't get more feedback on situations. I don't know. Then maybe the students may see different things that they could see improvement in. Maybe the staff feels, again, like they had said in their survey about consistency, and feeling like a lot of it is on them.
Mhm.
So I think that's what we're going to talk about in the committee. But I think that a lot of it does have to do with consistency and routine and communication.
Is it possible, is it possible then to bring in, like, is there like student council members in 7th and 8th grade, or a couple of like people, parents maybe, who want to be a part of this, or like PTO, so that it's a collective?
Yeah, usually we did that. Last year we started with the staff who did, and then we started bringing in parents. And then we haven't brought in kids, but we do have students that are here that I think that we can kind of bring in, that are available, that are here for either the SAI, ESY, or camps, that we can maybe reach out
You
for
can't
them
take them
and
out of
get some
SAI
feedback.
because they're taking data on now.
Well, the SAI they have sometimes that I always talk to the kids. Like I was just talking to one of the students in the program as we're eating, and I'm just asking, what do you think about the program? So maybe just getting some feedback.
I think, just after looking at all of that and your question, it's fresh in my head. So for students, they felt exactly what you said, consistency across all students. They wanted to see, the same level of consequence for each kid. The parents were also saying similar to what the students, they wanted to know whether or not there was consistency across all families. The staff felt like they wanted more input, more support in making the calls and, holding the kids accountable and the parents accountable. That's the information that came out of that. My concern, honestly, with approving this is that we did work a lot on this last year, and it's a large number of people, and there's no cap to the number of hours. And I like the idea of like the multiple stakeholders being present in it.
Yeah.
So, and because it's all clumped together, it's hard to vote on it as separates. So that's because I would think like 3 of these people and some parents and some students might be able to execute exactly what you're looking for. So
I saw it as like from this part of the doing some of the discipline. A lot of the feedback was more upper school, and this is the majority is
And the
upper school
teacher.
who would be implementing the discipline and stuff. So I thought with them being part of the process, them actually following the discipline
investment.
and their investment in it would be crucial for them to like be part of the process, so that it's like once they come in, they know we were part. It's like embedded in their head of like no no phones, take away the phone, like whatever we come up with, it's consistent. And I felt that I was happy to see that most of them were people in the upper school student staff.
I think a lot of what we hear from parents and students that they get frustrated with is because Sonia or I, like, if something happens, I can't tell you what the consequences were for the other child. I can't tell the parents, we can't tell the students. So sometimes the students think, oh, that student didn't get any consequences, but they have no idea what happened behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go along with the flip side of that being that, and I do think I don't know if there's like a handout or a way to talk to parents about this, that like on the teacher side, and I talk to my own kid about this, where it's like somebody might not get the same consequence, right? But you don't know if that child has some other need, or like that's none of your business. You know what I mean? So like if so-and-so gets up out of his chair 10 times and that's what his process is, right? And you don't know that that's why the teacher's letting them do that.
Mhm.
And so those are the kinds of things that parents can't know and they can't share, and kids are seeing, but so-and-so gets up all the time, and I got it once, and, Mr. Cuddle yelled at me. But it's like, they don't know what he knows.
Mhm.
So kind of figuring out how to get that message across.
I wonder if
I
we
think is
can
important.
have like
lot of
a
conversations
communication,
about it's not,
have like a
everything's not equal.
But I mean, you can explain it to students, he needs that because.
But you can't.
But
They
it's-
can't,
yeah.
You can't say why, but you can say he needs to do that.
The thing we tell is that everyone needs different things, and
Right,
everyone gets what they
According to
need,
certain
and kind of you focus on you, and I'll focus on kind of the whole situation, right? The thing.
I
But
think
But I know that
edu-
it's frustrating for students. Looking,
Yeah.
so-and-so doesn't.
So how do we
never gets
communicate that to the
consequences, and
students
it's like, you don't
and
know
the
that.
parents
Right.
too?
And
So
it
that's-
I mean, I'll say, I mean, I know you have a concern that there's no cap, but I mean, I would hope that, I mean, this was a request, like to give these staff members the opportunity to work on this. I mean, Sonia can use them however she wants. It doesn't mean that they all have to work the same amount of hours or whatever.
We were gonna cap at 10 staff,
Right.
not less. So if the amount of staff was the concern, we would have to pick at 10, but we had less than 10.
Can I just ask part of this? Have you guys ever thought about adding like a dean of discipline for the school, like someone who is just specific for that role?
that was noted in the comment. One person had
Okay.
noted it, that they recommended a dean of discipline.
I mean, it works at a lot of other places, so just saying. It wouldn't be a bad idea to have that one person, he could set, or she could set their own guidelines and rules on discipline and how it's gonna be enforced, and that's the one person people can go to for their answer instead of
Mhm.
bouncing off of multiple people. Just an idea.
Do you have, I don't know if this is appropriate, but you could say I don't want to answer it. Do you have difficulties like, do you feel it's difficult to be consistent with the discipline policies in your current role?
No.
No? Okay.
And even if you look at the data, we don't get a lot in the offices. So a lot of the discipline, some of it'll say it's so much, so many, and we don't even have to address it because it doesn't come to us. So some of it, I think it's like what teachers may be saying, is some of it they're expected to deal with, and that's something that, but having someone, maybe then that would be someone who's more available maybe, or that the students will see a more presence in that role, and it's just that role. So I do feel like there would be value of having someone who, I don't know if it would be considered like a dean of students, but like you could say a disciplinarian, or
I have to say the data does show progress from last year in regards to discipline,
And I
even
do
though it did
believe
reoccur.
yeah, I believe we
It's
have
better.
having put in the group together and having the handbook and everything updated. And I think some teachers felt that they had something to look at. And that's why I think they wanted to take accountability, but okay, this is what it says here. This is the consequences I'm going to get. I do think though that it's again, what we talk about in some cases where you may get away with something in one room and not in another room. So it's not consistent. It has to be consistent everywhere.
Well, this is the question then that it begs, right? Is it the discipline policy or is it a behavior management issue within the teachers, which is kind of what Anthony brought up earlier, right? And if it's a behavior management issue, because if you're saying from one class to the other, then why are we looking at the discipline policy? Maybe the discipline policy is fine, and it's the behavior management that needs to be looked at.
I also think it's
It could be
that SEL component too of how they're talking
it
about
could
each
be a
other. That
little bit of
sensitivity
all of it.
training that you just talked about with the student that gets up 10 times, that also feeds into the discipline and behavior. I think it's all combined.
So I agree. I think even from this committee, even let's say together as a committee, we're looking at a PD for behavior management or so I think it's a good because we like to collaborate. So I think putting it together and that's why I think that it's important.
Well, I think the key, what you had sort of expressed, right? You want to give them some ownership of whatever policy it is, whatever handbook comes of it, whatever discipline code it comes. It's not being said, this is what you have to do because Sonia says so, or because I say so, or whatever. It's like, this is what we all decided is feasible. This is what can actually be implemented in the class. Now, after going through a year of this is the discipline code we had last year that is so very, very, very specific, maybe that's too much. And it's too much to reference, too many different individual codes to reference. So maybe it needs to be looked at in a different lens to make it a little bit more user-friendly. And I think that's the concern, and what you're seeing even from some of the feedback in the survey too, is like, well, I had to enter it in real time, and then I had to call the parent, and then I had to write this down, and I had to file this report and whatever else. So there's got to be a happy medium where we're holding kids accountable, but we also have systems in place that are able to be done without it being too overwhelming. But at the same time, holding everybody accountable for doing their job, which is to manage the classroom like you're talking about. So I mean, I think there's definitely value to having staff involved in the process. So that's all I'll say with that. So I don't necessarily, I am recommending this based on Sony's recommendation. And again, if there's any kind of concern about the no cap or anything like that, I think that's something we could talk about administratively to decide what's reasonable, what's feasible, even talking to Tom about what we have for the summer. So hopefully that will dispel any other sort of worries that you have about this. But I know that the intent is good, and I know that it's definitely addressing a concern that has been consistent in all three of these different surveys, which is why I think getting out ahead of it now, rather than trying in August or in that 1 week in August is better.
And last year we planned it, we tried to do it in a week, and then we just had a couple more days. So we do try to not have too many days working on, so it's not too much, but I did, when I emailed the staff, I did say it would be 2 weeks in July. So the last 2 weeks in July, and we may not need that whole time.
Okay.
So what we would like to do is at least start the first couple days, review and everything. And then as we start inviting parents in, students in, so that then before it's shared, that we have feedback from all stakeholders.
I know Natalie had a question. I have another question too.
Yeah,
When you're
I was
done.
wondering, so when students do go to your office, do the parents always get called?
Depends on the situation, yeah. But most of the time, yeah, if they come to me, it's because it's more serious, and so then I would call. But sometimes it could be like a recess thing, and they just say, can you just talk to them real quick? And it's just like scare students sometimes. So no, I wouldn't go for every single student, but for the most part, yeah, if it's, usually it comes to us if it's when it's like something the teacher cannot handle.
Yeah, some things that teachers can't teach. Have to come along.
Yeah.
Just circling back, like, just my concern is that I would just say, my kids, I know for a fact that the class goes to his room and there's no issue, right? And everything is fine. That same class goes to classroom X and it is off the chart. And so that's where my concern is. It's like, if he can do it, and I'm sorry because you're in front of me and I just know it to be true, right? But if he can do it and then you go to the next classroom and it's completely the opposite, right? That's the problem. Like,
Right. Well, I mean, I will say that's more of an administrative function, is ensuring that classroom management is being applied the right way. And again, without getting into specifics, we've had some serious talks even this year about implementing corrective action plans, looking at the data of who's entering information into real time as as bulky as it may be, this is still what you're supposed to do. So we do have data about how many people actually, followed the rules, didn't follow the rules. So that, from an administrative standpoint, that's something that we're addressing that should help the problem. But overall, even when it comes to dealing with the kids, overall, I do think that the handbook needs to be updated and all this, and we always have staff members sort of participate in that process. There's right.
Yeah. There's behavior management, and yes, there's probably some PD and other things that may need to be done for certain classrooms.
And you did a lot this year too,
We
right?
did a lot this year too, but that is kind of separate from this. This is more of an overarching, like, this is the school's policy, this is consequences and things like that everyone can kind of fall back on.
I guess I'm just questioning, does the discipline policy actually need to be
Revised.
That's what I'm saying.
I would say yes, because there were times like Sonia and I, like something would happen, and then, and Sonia and I would look at the code and we're like, it's not really in here, it's kind of in here, like, there's some tweaking that 100% needs to be done with this one code.
And that might be something we've noticed, but there may be the teachers probably know more, like, oh, this wasn't on there. And
Right. Well, we all know there was a big push for this last year, right? And this was something coming in this year. We came in big with the no cell phones and all this, and that was a huge change. So a lot of that, there is a learning curve, like we talk about with some of this, but at the same time, there's also a certain fatigue that we also saw that we can't let happen, and I think that comes with consistency, and that comes with something that's easy to enforce and something that is no nonsense when it comes to that. So, even if it means simplifying some of these rules to put them into different categories, that's something that this group could also talk about. But we're not going to solve it here tonight, but it's definitely a priority. It's definitely something, because you want to circle back to even staff morale and things like that you're seeing there too. If they're not feeling supported, if they feel like the kids are the ones in control, that's also why people feel a certain way. So we get it. We understand that. And we understand there are things that have to be addressed. And this is just one tiny step towards that, among other things, and setting goals and everything. Please.
Yes, one more question. So I know that you guys had a behaviorist on staff, and now you don't have a behaviorist on staff. Do you think that impact is felt?
Matthias personally as loss will always be felt, and as a human. The role, because we have now a full-time social worker and we have Rosie that comes 3 days a week, I don't think the role itself is felt as much.
Okay. Thank you.
I think, in all honesty, I think there was certain misunderstanding about the role, even from the staff's perspective, but prior to his departure too. Where it wasn't a disciplinary sort of thing. This wasn't a discipline thing. This was a behavior thing. So that's all.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Will there be opportunities to learn exactly about the updates that are going to be finalized, not just for the handbook, but also from your end, because you said administratively you need to work on the behavioral management piece.
Well, I'll tell you right now, one of our goals, again, is going to be related to this. So there's going to be an action plan that we have to give to you guys about how we're approaching this, what sort of things we want to hit, when we want to hit them. But discipline and behavior is going to be definitely something that's included in it this year. So you'll have plenty of details when it comes to that. Is that safe to say? Right?
Yeah.
Cool. Right. Yeah.
According to me, yeah.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments from the board? No? And let us know if you need board representation, if you want some of us to help out.
I do. I could tell you that already. So I'll let you know once we get to that part. And
okay. Everybody good? Ready to vote? Okay. Avino?
Yes.
Bahari?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Goodrich?
Yes.
Lazoo?
Yes.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Vallejo Justy?
Yes.
Hannah, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2407-13, 2024-2025 personnel appointments extracurricular. Sorry, I'm going through. I could read them all to you, but
No, they're all up on the board.
I don't want to kill anybody's name.
So we were trying to get like most of the curriculum positions started, and obviously athletics, because we have to start soccer in September. So that needs to be planned for the summer.
So I noticed, oh, wait. Move by. Had not moved, second. Take your time. Go ahead, Justin.
Is there a mentor for the?
Can't say questions or comments.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
No, sorry.
You're so well, like, questions or comments from the board? Sorry.
Is there a mentor for?
There will be, because we have
Yeah, yeah.
vacancies, yeah, but there will be. Yep.
So
Yep.
some people have applied, and then we still have obviously some vacancies that if they haven't applied, we haven't.
Did we?
put them on.
I think we, but I think we also talked about them having to probably work over the summer.
Yeah, but we were like, we will hold off until we had the pacing guides so we could see what they were, and so we could support.
So the question that came up is the curriculum committee, we talked about pacing guides being done before approvals.
Oh, I thought we would get them approved before they do pacing guides, because that's the whole
The
point,
summer.
hiring them and then them gonna tell us what they're gonna.
Right, well, if you're asking someone to give you a pacing guide, you want them to be assured that they have the job, I
Well,
would
some
think.
of them completed the job
Yeah.
already,
We
that's
asked
why.
for,
Yeah, and some
for
people
us to
didn't.
the end of the year,
Right.
but
Yeah.
people can get it done.
Right.
I think the one position, the STEM coordinator wasn't chair, so technically, like, I saw the only one we were really missing were like two.
So STEM coordinator is gonna be our STEM chair?
Well,
Well, no,
when we
that
do
doesn't exist.
negotiations, stipend committee, we would like to change that for a science chair, not STEM, and it would be science STEM chair, but that's something we're gonna talk about. This is what the current contract has.
Okay.
So we didn't do any changes that were talked about in negotiations, but when we do have that
And
team, then.
I thought, so, and I thought going into the new contract year, there would be a stipend committee that. this would
Correct,
go
that's
Yeah.
what I thought as well.
Correct,
will be, but they won't
right,
be-
that
they
meets
won't be
in the
enforced by
fall,
September.
that meets in
So
fall,
not for the
and,
summer people.
no, well, that committee, all right, based on the wording and contract, which my understanding hasn't changed, that committee meets in the fall, starting in November. They meet actually throughout the year as things come up, if necessary. And then February is the deadline for providing any updates. So
So how does this fit into that?
This is what the.
this is the current contract, which still rolls over,
Okay.
which everything stays the same. Because looking at the agreement as it stands right now, it says everything in exhibit G or H or whatever it is, yeah, remains unchanged, except for one change, which was the social studies chair.
So this all
Right.
carries over to the contract that just was approved by the board.
Right. These are pre-existing.
People that applied for the positions.
Prior to.
I guess
Okay.
the question that I have is like, one of the reasons we came up with the pacing guides is because we all, as a collective, felt that there was gaps in like how the chairs were able to complete their roles effectively, or things that we.
So if
had-
someone took the role that we had, like what they
Yeah, that
currently
currently
do, things like
existed.
that.
Like,
Mhm.
so for example, we talked about like, resources, but not being able to see if they were being used, or, not having a clear understanding of what we were gonna be doing. And that's one of the reasons why, I asked, like, okay, let's all as a collective get these pacing guides so we can actually figure them out and say, all right, we're helping support you, but we're also, saying, okay, this is what you want to accomplish, how can we help you do that,
Mhm.
right, as the board? And so I feel like it's a little bit hard to say, we're going to approve this, and then what do we know is gonna happen during the summer? Do you know what I mean? Because it wasn't kind of what has transferred this year with the,
Yeah.
the chairs.
I think it was like the current chair is the objective that was set for them to complete the pacing guide was set under not this year that we're in right now, but the last. And now that we're approving new people on, now they're carrying the weight of the previous, they're the same people, but they're carrying the weight of the previous chair. And I also don't see a G&T overall
Because
coordinator?
We haven't had anybody apply.
And
Okay.
to be, and so if a person applies, then we would go through that process, but we have not. So what we did was we wanted to appoint anyone who has applied, if we felt that they would do the job well, obviously, we would pick that candidate and then they would be appointed sooner than later so that they could start the role. To be honest, we've started it. If we do it even in August training, then we're expecting them to hold math meetings, ELA meetings during August training, and they're just getting appointed. And I don't think that's fair. I think appointing them sooner than later would be better. We talked about this in curriculum so that we could have them prepare and be ready for the following year. I think mentally, with everything, it's just a lot on the chairs. And I know that we wanted to have the committee and we wanted to improve the committee and support them more. But I do feel like if we hold off, I just think it's going to be more difficult. I don't know. You would wait for the pacing guide and then make a decision. It might be the same people who apply. And so I don't, that's all really. We cannot hire a
That's why
person
we
in-
had asked for
I don't know.
earlier, right? So that we could have it sometimes improvement. It couldn't get done, and I understand that. But I'm just saying that from the curriculum perspective, it's like, if we approve it and then it's the exact same thing and we never get a pacing guide or we never get like what we're gonna be helping.
I don't
and
think
support
that, I
how
think
we
you will
do.
get a pacing guide. It
No,
was unclear when it was expected. And so I could take the count on that, just.
Right, I mean,
talk
okay, well,
about it
and well, actually, I mean, again, not
I-
to overstep either. I mean, you could probably back this up. That's not the board's role, is to tell a staff member what they have to do. That falls under administrating the school. I mean, if Sonia says, if you tell Sonia, you tell me and Sonia, they need to do this, and that's part of the job, and then it doesn't get done, then,
Report back to us.
Right.
As to how it went and what happened.
exactly, yeah. I mean, it's almost too involved, in all honesty, is what this
I
sounds
think the
like
pacing
when
guide
it
would
comes.
change my decision and hire these people.
Right.
Just
Like, this is
my
the
opinion.
recommendation based on, and if not for nothing else, like just based on the fact that we had 2 chair presentations tonight and we applauded them and said they did a great job. So, you know what I mean? So I don't want to get hung up on specifics here when it comes to approving
So I
these
think,
extracurriculars.
I think just being a person on curriculum chair and understanding both parts. I think one of the difficulties is that we were functioning and we have been functioning, and I'm going to be very candid about this, for like years without that pacing guide, right? And the role and the function of the curriculum committee as board members who sit on that committee is to challenge with expectation, right? And one of the challenges that we presented was this pacing guide. We wanted it before the last meeting. It didn't occur with all chair people, so there were some that still didn't complete it. So I hear that part of holding someone accountable, right, to what we have asked, and not from a perspective of micromanaging, but from a perspective of what we saw as an overview of a school need, that the staff needed that the data that we were reviewing through curriculum meetings resulted in that request. But I also understand from an administrative perspective that if this is not completed, we're going to start another year without a pacing guide. Basically, right? Because the people who are responsible for those subject areas won't be paid, therefore they're not going to do the pacing guide, and therefore we would have to wait. So I get both sides. I understand both positions. There is something to be said though about when we work together as a curriculum committee and we're putting these minutes out, we're putting these objectives out in pending business, that's public information, and we do want to hold people accountable to what we are putting
No, I agree.
ourselves out there for.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not about administrating like the program, but it's like we're being asked to approve the money and stuff, and then we didn't see something, we're allowed to just say, hey, if we didn't get this, this is why, or
Yeah,
no?
well, and what I heard the board president talking about was saying because I'm just getting into this right now, right? I'm here brand new. You're talking about pacing guides or whatever, information. That sounds like policy, right? That sounds like you're saying to your administration, this is what we think would be helpful in this regard. You're not telling them who to hire, you're not telling them how to pay them, but you're saying this is a general overview to see that it's fairly implemented or something to that effect, correct? That's a board function, yes.
But so from this whole list, there's only 2 people that did not submit the
What are we
pacing guide, so I
talking,
just
pacing
don't,
guides?
maybe then
What's a
don't vote
pacing
on.
guide? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I'm actually not clear on it myself.
So the ELA presentation, the little box on the side, we also completed one as a board where it basically goes through month by month what the targets are going to be. So us as a board did one, and you weren't here at the last meeting, I have to share it with you. But each month, what our responsibilities would be. So the curriculum chairs, what they did is they created a similar pacing guide that looks at objectives that need to be met within a
But
certain
pace
time
is what
frame.
it sounds like, how you would pace yourself through the year. and
Correct.
everything with the curriculum. Okay.
Now, is that a document that the board would approve then?
The pacing guide,
If-
no.
but he's saying if it's a function of policy.
Well, a pacing guide you're talking about is something you're asking your administration to have your teachers,
Cheers.
teacher chairs prepare.
Mhm.
Okay, and so then the administration would say, yeah, they prepared the guides, right? And they're good, right? And that would be the extent of it, right? That would be not stepping into administration, but having policy and seeing that a particular practice or procedure that was good policy or practice, right? Was recommended and was implemented by the administration.
But to Ms. Bahari's point, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think what she's bringing to light is that was the recommendation made and it wasn't completed, and now we're approving people to do the exact same work. So that's where her area of concern lies. Am I right?
Yes.
Stacey, okay.
That's correct.
These are, but you're approving stipends for positions that are part of the contract, I understand, right?
Mhm.
How does that, how is that related to the pacing guide itself?
Because the chairs are.
It was an ask of these stipend positions, it was an ask that the board curriculum committee made, was to create these pacing guides for the curriculum chairs.
Okay, and there are curriculum chairs on here.
Correct.
Is that the issue?
Yeah.
Who might not have done that? Is that what you're saying?
But this was also, I mean, what I understand is that this is the approval of stipends per the
Right,
contract.
and these are the people, as I heard somebody say,
It's the
this is
exact
already
same people.
pre-approved, and what we're doing tonight is just approving the people who have applied for the positions.
Correct.
We're not setting their salary, we're just saying, yes, they're approved for, this is who we would staff these positions with, and this is the pre-approved stipend amount.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's pretty pro forma for the most part. If the board's not happy with some of this other stuff that you're talking about, I think it would be addressed in holding administration accountable or whatever, if administration is responsible for seeing that these things happened. But I don't see it as being an appropriate function to say, so I'm not
Take it
gonna
away from
approve a stipend or whatever for a position. That ends up kind of stepping into the field of management through your
That's the
vote
point.
on policy.
And I'm saying about individuals,
Mhm.
right?
Okay, that was good. It's good to have these discussions, I think, and be open.
So
Yes.
How often is the mentor meeting with all these teachers, a lot of teachers? I feel like every substitute, I don't know.
Typically, they would meet once a week. But a lot of times, if the teacher, let's say it's a new teacher and they would like more support, they meet more regularly.
But they would only meet with new teachers, correct?
That's a
Or
lot.
With the-
non-tenured teachers?
No, new teachers, not even non-tenured, yeah.
With new teachers, whether they're new to the school or been here, let's just say got a new role.
Is there a way we can hire that?
And, okay, well, also, this isn't up for discussion, just so we know, this is again contractual. So this would be a function of that committee, the subcommittee, to talk about the existing stipends, and if the union and the representatives from the school decided that it should be increased, that's done outside of this. But this is, again, based on what currently exists. And it can't be changed contractually. Even if we wanted to raise it, we couldn't raise it if we wanted to. Correct. Yep. Yeah. Correct. That's exactly. This is all pre-existing. Yes.
Okay. Ready? Any other questions or comments from the board?
No, it's fine. That's
Okay. Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Mizzou,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy.
Yes.
Hadnot, yes. Resolution carries. Just know that our role is definitely to be critical and look at
No,
things.
we
no, of course,
understand
no.
that.
So
It's
it's
never.
not to be not supportive, it's just to get some clarifications.
Well, I mean, it's definitely something now to be brought back when it comes to the curriculum discussions and things like that. That this was a serious discussion that was also held.
Yeah.
So.
Resolution 2407-14, acceptance of resignation. Be it resolved that the board accept the resignation of Nicole Azari effective 7/26/24. Moved by
Gilchrist.
Hadnot, why am I reading? Goodrich moves, McGilchrist seconds, it's a long meeting. Okay. I personally want to say the best of luck to Miss Nicole. She's made a big impact on my daughter's life. She's one of those safe people that she trusts at school. I wish her all the best, and hopefully she will come back one day. Any other questions or comments regarding resignation? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Mizzou,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Sadly, no. I mean, sadly, yes.
What happens if we say, oh, we can hold a relations? Had not, yes, resolution carries. Maybe we should do
That
that.
would have been a big power.
Sadly, yes.
Resolution 2407-15, HIB report acknowledgement. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees acknowledges the receipt of report from TCCS HIB specialist Christina Andrews on July 1st, 2024. Moved by McGilchrist moves, Carter seconds. Sorry, I think Carter was first. But questions or comments from the board? No, it was you. Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Valeo Justy.
Yes.
Had that, yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2407-16, acceptance of donation. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees accept a donation of $25,000 from the Teaneck Teaneck Charter School Community Organization to be used toward the playground renovations. Moved by McGilchrist, move. Second, Avino seconds. My comment is, can't wait. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Thank you for the donation for our kids.
All the families, all the years. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yeah.
Carter, I'm getting loopy. Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo, McGilchrist,
Yes.
Valeo Justy. Had my yes, resolution carries. Right? This meeting is being adjourned at 9:42 p.m. Thank you all for coming.
When the plane lands, we're here.
I am.